that thinks you old.
There's nothing wrong with being old.
Nothing. I'm actually embracing. I'm actually embracing. I embrace my my elderly. I embrace my maturity. Marz, on the other hand,
I embrace my maturity too.
Hold on. Let's be very clear. One, I love being old, but old doesn't mean mature, and I am an example of that.
And two, and two, I'm not old. I'm just not as young as I used to be. There's a difference. Because I can still do a lot of the stuff that I used to do. Don't let the white hair fool you. In the words of my grandmother, just because it's snow on the roof don't mean it ain't a fire in the furnace, brother.
It's just a fancy way of saying old, but I guess.
Fellas, how we living today? Ox, you good?
Ox is good, but don't let Marz fool you. He Benjamin Button, bro. He like 80 years old. He's just going in reverse.
That's really what's going on, Tone. That's for real what's going on here. Don't think I ain't on to you, Marz. You really like 76, but it's just in reverse.
I woke up without back pain today. Can you say the same?
Yeah, I for the first time in a while, I have actually.
Interesting.
It's crazy you say that, Marz, because for the first time I woke up without some back pain too.
Nice.
But I had this crazy knock over here on the left side. Oh, that's crazy.
Hey Ron, I would love for you to do me a favor because with the whole Discord, not Discord. No, leave Marz in. What I want you to do. There's a guy in our chat. I would love for you to send him the link. His name is Jimmy Two Shoes, right? I would love for you to send Jimmy Two Shoes the link. Jimmy, if ever, I don't know who you are. I don't know what you about, but I would love for you to come in here and whatever grievances and whatever problem you got with me, come on in here and let's get to the bottom of it. I would love that. And I don't mean in a week. I don't need you to get ready for any sort of competition. Come do it right now. That's what I'm asking from you. Come do it right now. We just got started. I have no problem. Come do it right now, my man. Because like I said, I don't know who you are. You said you already cooked me. What did you cook me on? Did you cook me on LeBron or on Jordan being better than LeBron? I mean, what are we doing here? So again, Ron has his Twitter account. Ron has his Instagram account. It's right there. It's not difficult. It's not difficult to tag. You can tag it right there. He will send you the link. If you whatever grievances and whatever problem you got with me, come on in here and let's get to the bottom of it, my man. Because apparently you think you know more basketball than me. You think that I'm a fraud in front of everybody. Come prove it.
Jimmy is the biggest fraud on.
Come prove it, my man. That's all I'm asking you to do, and I'm not asking you to do nothing else. Come do it.
Jimmy,
if you cook him, you get to take his spot on the panel.
There you go. I'll bounce.
There we go.
Does anybody have an idea of what type of shoes that Jimmy wears?
Two of them, I assume.
Stilettos.
That's what I was thinking.
Two left feet.
Mm-hmm.
I was thinking right, but it's probably left. Probably.
Anyway.
A30 wants you guys to get the likes up. And Jason the Kid wants Jimmy to fight back. I like burritos with an early empty super chat. Appreciate you, burritos. I like burritos too. Tacos as well.
I've never had one.
Hey.
Wait a second. Hold on.
For real?
I thought you were supposed to change his name to I Love Buttons. What happened to that?
It's a fact.
Marz, you never had a burrito, Marz? Ever?
Nope.
I'm confident that there's Spanish people in the UK. I'm sure of that.
Oh, there are. I've just never had a burrito. There's never been somewhere I've gone where they have burritos. I've never had one. Let me try one. It's never come to that. I mean, I lived in Spain and still never had a burrito. So,
like that's
you ruined it because I was gonna say you've never left your house. That's why you've never eaten it.
Oh yeah, I mean that's part of the reason. I mean I never went out. So
Marz, when you do finally get a burrito, make sure you get the asada. Tell them to add shrimp. Mix the asada and the shrimp. Get the brown rice, black beans, light sour cream. I don't even get the sour cream, but you probably like it. Light sour cream, a little guacamole. I got you, Marz.
Man.
Gotta get guac. Got to.
That sounds pretty good, Marz. That sounds pretty good. I like
maybe,
it.
Maybe for PC weekend when I come over, maybe might have a burrito.
We're gonna get you right. We're gonna get you right.
Might leave looking like low, but who knows? We'll see.
Hey,
Marz,
it's gonna be right next to you, so I mean, you got something to strive for. You know,
that's the before and after picture right there. That's the before and after picture.
Fire.
Marz, when you come to PC weekend, I'm taking you straight to Mimo's.
Don't even know what that is, but I look forward to it.
Either Mimo's or Blue Water Tacos. I got you.
There we go.
Juan's Archive Tool said, "Can I get Marz input on Cam Whitmore's 2 games?"
Athletic Carmelo Anthony. That's what he is. Athletic Carmelo Anthony. That's what he's gonna be.
Carmelo's a pretty good athlete, Marz. I mean,
yeah, but a bit more athletic. He's more explosive. He's more explosive. Has similar physical builds. Not as strong as Carmelo, but he'll get there. The isolation game, I see it. Not in the mid range, but I see the isolation game. The unwillingness to pass. That's also there, like Carmelo. So I see it. But no, trolling aside, very talented scorer. The mid-range game does need to come along. It's very, very what's the word for like underdeveloped? It's very underdeveloped at this point. Very bad tunnel vision. I don't like his feel for the game. Like he's very wired towards scoring and he makes quite a few mistakes doing that. But the potential is definitely there. And at the 20th pick with the right coaching, we're going to have a hell of a scorer on our hands. So I'm still very happy. You can see the holes that he needs to develop. And hopefully they will be developed sooner rather than later.
I'm glad you cleaned up that trolling thing because yesterday I had to listen to Amen Thompson be the next Magic Johnson. So now I got to go from the next Magic Johnson to the next a better version of Carmelo Anthony.
I mean, we got Magic Johnson at the 1, we got MJ at the 2, then we're going to have Carmelo at the 3, Trevor Ariza at the 4, and Baby Jokic at the 5. That sounds like
an NBA championship team to me, man. Exactly. I don't know, Marz. That sounds pretty. Exactly. That sounds pretty stacked to me. Stacking the deck. Is Houston stacking the deck?
We're just drafting very well. What can I say?
So it's cool for Houston to stack the deck, but an individual player can't do that. No.
Oh no! God forbid.
Hey, Marz. In all seriousness, are you pleased with the way Houston's drafted over the years and the young talent they've compiled?
Without sounding like a hater, for the most part, yes. Did I like Jabari Smith at 3 last year? No. But other than that, I like the Jalen Green pick. I like getting Sengun. I obviously loved getting Cam Whitmore. I loved getting Amen Thompson. I can't remember who we got before that because we were always we were in the playoffs and I was in Golden State, so I wasn't paying attention. But since we've been bad, Jalen Green, Josh Christopher, Alpin Sengun, Jabari Smith, Usman Garuba, Ty Washington wasn't great. Overall, yeah, I think we've drafted very well. The only pick that we got that was a high pick that I didn't really like was Jabari. But after Chet and Paolo were already gone, I mean, he was the option. And
are you coming around to him now? After kind of a summer league and late, you're not.
He's still Trevor Ariza to me.
I've been a bit impressed from him though.
Oh, same. I've liked what he's done in the summer. Then I'm shutting him down. But I like what he's done in the summer league. But it's the summer league, and I don't overreact to the summer league. So I need to see that transfer to the regular season because if there's actual improvement, like his face-up game's gotten better and his self-created 3-point shot is now suddenly good, sure. But if that's just because he can cook people in the summer league, it doesn't really mean much to me. So I need to
Marz,
see
who would you had rather you guys going with the number 3 pick?
Well, ideally, I wanted Chet to fall to us or Paolo.
Okay.
Because I remember draft night, it was Jabari was going 1, Chet was going 2, and Paolo was coming to Houston. That's what I thought. And I was like, okay, if Orlando take Jabari number 1, they've sold. And if we get Paolo, we won the draft. But then Paolo went number 1. We got Jabari. I still prefer, like, at number 3, Jaden Ivey was probably too high for him. So I probably would have traded back. But I would have liked Jaden Ivey. I still would have liked Shaden Sharp. And then even beyond that, I would have liked Jalen Duren. Like, there's a lot of players I would have preferred over Jabari, just not at number 3. I probably would have just traded back. But we got Tari Eason in that draft as well, who I like a lot. So very good draft anyway.
So you convinced that the two guys that got drafted before him, both Chet and Banchero, so those guys are better than him right off the bat.
100%.
And the guys that you mentioned, you like them better. I just don't like you at 3. So I would much rather have traded the number 3 pick to, I don't know, let's say the number 8 pick. How do you feel about Mathurin?
I like him. I don't know if I like the fit next to Jalen Green, which is also I'm hesitant with Shaedon Sharpe. I think he's a 2 guard who's wired to score just like Jalen Green. That would probably just make him a bench player long term, which you probably don't want. Shaedon Sharpe can play the 3, which is why I think it would make more sense. But then beyond that, Jalen Duren was at the end of the lottery. I would have liked Jalen Duren next to Alperen Sengun. That would have been great. I did like Jeremy Sohan, but I'm not sure we should have picked him. And I thought Keegan Murray would be better than Jabari Smith in his rookie year, and he was. Long term, I don't know. I don't know how much more Keegan can develop, but I probably would have taken Keegan Murray over Jabari Smith.
Jason Tatum.
I mean, yeah, if he's Jason Tatum, then I definitely would have taken Keegan over Jabari Smith. I was just low on Jabari. I didn't think he was a top 3 player in the class.
I'm right there with you. I didn't know. I don't know. I just didn't see how his game was going to translate. But that's why, like, I liked what I seen in the summer league because I was then able to see it translate in some way, shape, or form on an NBA level court. And I was like, oh, okay, that's what his game could look like into the future.
Yeah, so I got him. I'm rooting for him.
I think both of you guys are wrong, but okay.
I hope you're right. My talent analysis is like 85% hits, but he can be the 15% that fails. And like that doesn't meet my talent analysis. If he's better than that,
right,
I'm gonna be so happy as long as it's in Houston. Now, if he goes somewhere else and becomes great, I'm not gonna be very happy. But we'll see.
And you're not gonna get fired, Marz, over screwing up one draft pick as opposed, even though it was a number 3 pick, you're not gonna get fired over that. Now, if you drafted
the right pick, if we would have took like, let's say we took Jaden Ivey at 3 and he didn't pan out, knowing Jabari Smith was like the lock top 3 prospect, then you might get fired. But if you just take the last person who was meant to be a guaranteed top 3 pick and you take them and they don't pan out, that's not really your fault. Well, kind of is, you didn't develop them, but like you took the right player, so it's different.
Keeping it moving. Quan's archive tool said, how much would a ring boost PG all time?
I think it would help depending on how important he was to that ring. Like nobody really talks about Mitch Richmond because Mitch Richmond was on that 2002 Laker team that he retired after that season. So, I mean, that didn't really do anything for him. But if Paul George was on a crew that ended up going to the NBA Finals and he was an integral part of it, well, that would definitely add to his narrative. The fact that he's an All-NBA performer, the fact that he's an All-Star, and he can basically scrap the pandemic P tag and get back to the playoff P tag. I think that him getting the NBA championship, I think that would help him. Now, what I'm not going to do is I'm not going to jump the gun and go, Paul George is a top 25 player all time now. Well, wait a minute. Let's hold the phone on that. I'm not gonna go that far, but I do think that it would help his status in terms of who he is as a player.
I don't think we can ever scrap that pandemic P tag, like
ever, Big Ox.
Never.
Like if he ended up performing in the playoffs, let's say this year, for example, with the Clippers, not with the Lakers or the Heat, or with the Clippers. If he ended up performing in the playoffs and they ended up in the NBA championship and won it, and he had a big and he was a big reason why. I think that playoff P tag. I think that pandemic P tag will get scrapped.
That pandemic P performance was so egregious, so nasty.
Yes, Tone, the Clippers.
And stuff.
The
way Seth Curry was.
My man's throwing in if the size of the Grand Canyon, bro. If the Clippers win,
the Clip, yeah. You notice I said the Clippers, Tone. But I'm sorry, Big Ox. As you said, Seth Curry.
Sorry. He said that joke, and I'm sorry. Not that.
I'm sorry. You said Seth Curry, who was giving him the business. Yes, he was.
Seth Curry was abusing him. He was spanking him like a badass kid. He beat him like he stole something. Chill.
Yeah. There was
winning shows everything. They'd forget about that. Everyone forgot about Dirk's shortcomings and the failures when he won, and he had a decade of them. So
nobody talks about that. Nobody. Winning gives. What I always equate it to, Marz, is winning gives people amnesia. They forget about everything else once you win. Now all of a sudden you are this. Giannis is a prime example of that.
Winning is makeup. Winning is makeup. You can be as ugly as you want. You win. Now all of a sudden you're beautiful, 10 out of 10. But then you just wipe the makeup off.
you guys got a point though.
Still the Grinch.
You got a point, but at the same time, and look, I'm not gonna say Paul George didn't have no competition, but let's focus on Dirk in the gauntlet he had to go through in the West throughout the whole 2000s. The West might have been the hardest conference throughout a decade that we've ever seen. Shaq,
from 2000 to 2009, the Western
Kobe,
Conference Finals, the Western Conference was pretty rough.
Can we?
You could Shaq also.
Yeah, I said Shaq, Kobe, Tim Duncan.
You don't have to go any further. You can stop right there. You can stop right there. He had to deal with them two for the majority of the decade. And
with that being said, he got there once.
Unfolded.
Yes.
I would say D-Wade elevated, but you can say
Marz. I mean, not Marz.
Two things can be true.
Two things can be true, but
true.
Ron, don't leave out the fact they were up 2-0 in that series. They weren't down. It wasn't like 1-1. They were up 2-0. And both the games that they won them in convincing fashion. So it wasn't like I thought that I wasn't sure if Miami could win a game the way that they handled them. I didn't jump the gun, but I just wasn't sure that the way Miami had played in that series, I was thinking, yo, can they get a game and can they beat these dudes? So they ended up winning the next 4 games.
Chill, were you at any of those games?
I was at game 1.
Okay, and you were were you like blown
That was
away?
the game that Shaq. That was the game that Shaq went 1 for 9 from the strike. And the reason why I remember that
I would have made 2.
That's the old free throw. That's the free throw story where you were.
That was
shooting free throws before the game.
Yeah, that was the game the night before that we was working on it. So, Marz, to your point, we don't really talk about Dirk. I mean, don't get me wrong, Ron. Dirk Nowitzki was in a difficult conference, but I mean, the times when he actually was in favor, he did fold. I mean, they were the number 1 seed in 2007. They won 67 games. They got bounced in round 1. They didn't lose. They got bounced by Golden State. Well, Golden State was a bad matchup. I believe it was the next year they lost in the semifinals. And nobody really talks about that 2011 team that he had. Well, it wasn't like that crew was just put together. I mean, they were together for a while. J.J. Barrera, Jason Kidd, Sean Marion had just gotten on the crew. But a lot of those guys were on that crew for a while before they actually won it. And they were routinely being shown the door up until that point after they went to the NBA Finals.
Tyson Chandler was a huge addition for that team.
Yeah, he was.
It made Dirk's life on defense so much easier. Because I think that's why they were losing so much. Because, I mean, defense with Dirk, I mean, it's not great. But, yeah, Dirk, you got 06, folds in the finals. Then 07 wins an MVP, number 1 seed, loses to an 8 seed. Embarrassingly, 08, the Warriors.
The We Believe Warriors with Baron Davis.
Baron Davis was cooking in that series.
Boy, hey, hold on, wait. It was somebody else that was cooking too. We not gonna talk about that team and not mention Monte Ellis. Can't do that.
That's correct. I mean, that's true.
Yeah, I mean, you can talk about Monte Ellis, but I mean, Baron Davis was the one cooking in that series, just abusing them. Then 08, it was either the first or the second round. They lost to Chris Paul's Hornets. I know that. Dirk wasn't particularly great in that series. 09, I think they lost to Carmelo's Nuggets. I mean, if you're losing to a team with Carmelo in the postseason, well. 2010, I think, was the Spurs. Then obviously the championship, but
not the Spurs. I think the Spurs in 2010 got bounced in round 1 too. They lost to Memphis. If it wasn't 2010,
2011. I think that was 2011.
Okay, I'm sorry. My fault.
Yeah, these years they get a bit foggy. I mean, I could be wrong with one of the years. I'm close enough. But and then 2011 they win, and all of a sudden Dirk's been this great player performer. And then every time after that, they lost in round 1. But
by the way, hold on, Marz. I don't think they heard you in the back. One more time for the people in the chat. What happened after
2011? Every time they were in the playoffs, they lost in round 1. So,
just so you guys know, that's 9 seasons he played. He played 9 more years after that. And he got bounced in round 1 every year after that.
That's why when that year came around, he was like, yo, I'm tired of this. Dirk rolled up his sleeves like, no more. No more.
I just want to put that out there. So
Dirk, and I highly respect Dirk, top 5 power forward of all time, no doubt. It's just the revisionist history around his career is very off-putting to me. Like, I just speak about him as it happens and objectively. People just seem to forget everything that happened prior to 2011 and forget everything that happened after 2011 and act like his career was just that postseason. And even then, in the finals, he wasn't particularly great. He was great in the fourth quarters, but for the most part, he wasn't that great. Like, he wasn't at the same level he was in the conference finals or the second round. But still, 1,000% deserved the ring. One of the greatest championship runs of all time. But the revisionist history is just very off-putting to me.
I mean, they were awesome in the postseason. Yeah, they were.
You say it's makeup, and I don't, or that you said that winning can be makeup, and I don't disagree with that. And Ox, I want to hear how you feel about this as well. I don't disagree with that, but you don't possibly think that it's the convincing fashion that he won it in? Because let's say Paul George does win a championship, but he doesn't perform too well. People are still gonna be like, whatever. Or do you think him winning the championship automatically just propels him? And nobody remembers the whole playoff plea blunders and Seth Curry and Joe Ingles and all of that. Because if I'm not mistaken, it's the fact that Dirk beat all these number one seeds, or he beat Kobe, and then he goes on and beats the Heat, and it's just the way that he did it is the reason why we think so highly of Dirk.
Yeah, I think it'd be different for Paul George because he's not the best player in the team. Kawhi is. So as the number 2 guy is kind of different. Like if you don't play well as the number 2 guy and then win, you probably don't get as much respect. Whereas Dirk is the number 1 guy, even when he wasn't by far and away the best player in the series in the finals, still gets all the love. So Paul George probably does have to play well for the makeup to take hold. Otherwise, he's just wearing makeup out in the rain and it's just going to wash off anyway. But if he plays well, then yeah, I think it will help him. But if he plays poorly, maybe for a few weeks, the makeup will be there, but then it will just wash away, and then everyone will just be like, "Oh, well, he got carried back away."
Ox, is it in no way that you think differently about Paul George if he wins the ring? In convincing fashion, he outplays Kawhi.
Yeah, I mean it'll be cool. Like, you know what I'm saying, Marz? Like it'll be all right, but I'll never forget, bro. Like I will never ever forget, bro.
I think the big question, Big Ox, because a lot of people, I hear a lot of people talk a lot about Paul George. Like, what's the consensus on Paul George as a player?
He's loved by the community. I mean, people say he's the most skilled player of all time, the smoothest game of all time. They say that the only reason he's not talked about in this all-time regard is because of his lack of accolades. But from an eye test perspective, they say he's one of the best players to ever play. I saw someone say Paul George is a top 10 talent of all time. So, I mean, Paul George is loved from that aspect. They think the only reason he's not talked about more is because he doesn't have the accolades. So for them, if he wins, he's going to be in these crazy conversations. But
if so double down on what Brandon Miller said, I can't remember. You guys know who it is? It was a young guy. It was somebody's son.
Carmelo Anthony. Carmelo Anthony's son. Yeah, Carmelo Anthony's son.
But Brandon Miller also said he was the GOAT.
Yeah, so did Kyan Anthony.
Listen, Carmelo Anthony's son.
He said he better than my father. Yeah, he ranked his players top 3, and he said he better than my father.
Is Paul George better than Melo?
No.
No.
Hell no.
I will not.
Are you sure, Big Ox?
Lil man must have just got he on punishment or something. Pops took his PS5 or something, so he mad telling the world he's better than him.
People fall in love.
That's just spiteful.
People fall in love with the skill, talent, potential, right? Highlights. Dude, you still got to produce on the court. And then anytime you bring that up that he didn't get it done, it's but he got injured. Okay, well that's part of the game too. Like he's nice. Don't get me wrong, Paul George is nice at his best. Oh yeah, one of the top players in the NBA. But that means nothing. At the end of his career, it's going to mean nothing. You're going to be a guy that's like, oh man, he's a big what if, right? And then you got guys like Chill giving you a what if. What if he outplays Kawhi and the Clippers win a chip? What if rainbows and unicorns shoot out his butthole? Like that, the same chances of those two things happening.
Well, okay, Tone, is it that ridiculous?
Yes.
Whoa, Tone. Wait a minute.
You're asking a Laker fan if it's ridiculous if the Clippers win a ring.
Right. I know I'm being ridiculous right now with that. But hold on, Marz. If we rewind the clock back 2 years, Tone, with Leonard getting hurt, Paul George did propel them to the Western Conference Championship.
That is true.
That did happen 2 years ago.
He won 2 games in the second
round.
And
a guy you praise fluent. And a guy you praise.
That was 2 years ago. And are they better or worse now? Are they better or worse now? And is the Western Conference better or worse now from 2 years ago?
You praise Vince Carter fluent, and Vince didn't do what Paul George did.
Never, not one time.
No qualms. You have no qualms with Vince. You'll praise
Vince Carter is in the same boat as Paul George. Super talented, super skilled, even more athletic, and just never got it done. So when we're comparing guys who never got it done, okay, we can have a conversation. We can have a conversation about talent and skill and potential and beauty of their game and smoothness of their game. But those guys can't be. Not Vince Carter, not Carmelo, not Paul George.
He never did what Paul George
can
did.
Be in a conversation about the greatest of all time. They're not in that conversation.
I think Vince Carter can win 2 games.
He never did what PG did.
2 games win, Marz.
Kawhi played 4 games. Paul George played the last 2 without Kawhi, and they made the conference final.
Yeah, hold on.
I think Vince Carter can win 2 games in a series. I think he can.
Marz, he never
the last 2 games.
No. There was 3 games left. He had 3 games to win 2. He won 2 in a row. And Terrence Mann had 40.
You closed the series out, Marz. Not the first game or the second game.
Terrence Mann had 40 in the game 6. So let's not act like it's Paul George carrying them. Terrence Mann had 40. I think Vince Carter can do that. I think he can.
So Marz, this is why we're gonna have some beef today. You know what I'm saying?
Let's have some beef.
And I want to do it because me and you been getting along, but your logic doesn't work because Paul George took an Indiana Pacers team with Roy Hibbert to the Eastern Conference Finals and
that's a perfect example. I love that. If we're going to talk about conference finals, use the Indiana one.
That's
I have no issue with that. The Clippers one, I'm sorry, I'm not giving you for 2 games. I'm not doing it.
I'm saying Vince never did what PG did.
Oh no, I agree. I'm saying I'm just against the Clippers example. I'm saying against the Clippers example.
Fluent tried to put him in the same boat when Vince didn't do what PG did.
Wait, Fluent, you think Vince Carter is better than Paul George?
Damn, no. Paul George is better than Vince Carter.
Yeah, I'm asking Fluent if he thinks Vince Carter is better than Paul George.
At their best, no. Paul George is better than Vince Carter.
So what are we arguing about?
My point is that Vince Carter, Paul George, Carmelo Anthony never got it done. Okay, never were consistently the best, right? So if you want to compare them, you're comparing skill, talent, potential, the little bit of success that they had as a team. They're not in the conversation for the greatest of all time, what is where we were going, because you guys said Brandon Miller and Carmelo Anthony's son, they're in the GOAT conversation. Right. No, they're not. Even if they win a chip, which they won't. Even if he wins a chip, which he won't. He's not in that conversation. Period. End of it's not. The fact we're talking about it's crazy.
But Fluent, a lot of these like kids nowadays and like the younger generation, they don't care as much about winning. Like winning is not as big of a deal to them.
That's the problem. They don't care about winning. You're absolutely right.
But Tone, when we talking about a guy, and
they had to come up with a mid-season tournament for all the losers that aren't going to make it to the final, so that they get a little trophy. But
Tone, when we talking about skill set, when we talking about your game, okay, it looks pretty. But then when you get a guy like Paul George, who, I mean, the Clippers were in the Western Conference Championship 2 years ago. Leonard broke down and he broke down. That's always been my knock on them. If they can stay healthy and they can end up back in there, because that's been their knock. I mean, with the exception of what happened in the bubble with Pandemic P, he was playoff P before that. Now, what I'm not going to do is I'm not going to say that, this guy is the greatest of all time. I'm not putting him in the GOAT conversation. But you have to admit, Tone, that the narrative would change if they were to win the NBA championship, and he was a big part of that. That's a fact.
That is the biggest if, though, I've ever heard in my life. Sure, yes. If he goes out and he's the MVP and carries this team by himself. And
not MVP, Tone. Let's not go that far. No, Tone. Let's not go far as MVP.
Okay, finals. Fine.
Let's not even say finals MVP. Let's just say that Leonard. Let's say that Leonard plays the best.
If he is not the finals MVP, we better not have a conversation about them winning a chip.
Right.
In terms of what he is. Really? So if Kawhi Leonard's the finals MVP and the Clippers somehow win a chip, we're gonna inflate Paul George?
Because he averaged 22 a game in the NBA Finals, and he was big on defense, like what Scottie Pippen did in the NBA Finals.
Steph Curry when he won next to KD.
Chitchat, I gotta say,
wow.
Chitchat, I gotta say,
Steph Curry did it without KD though. Before
yeah,
and
but
after
he
him.
still
That's a
he
different
wasn't the
conversation.
Finals
And
MVP in the yeah, but he didn't win 2 Finals MVPs with KD, and we still gave him credit for the two rings when KD won the Finals MVP. I think Paul George can get some credit.
You want to compare Steph Curry's resume to Paul George's resume?
I'm not saying you have to put
prior
Paul
to
George.
that happening.
No, because that
right.
would be
If Paul
that
George
wouldn't
was
make
already,
sense. No,
if Paul George
that's not what
was
I'm saying.
already a champion, if Paul George was already a champion and a league MVP, and then
Unanimously.
Kawhi came in and they won 2 back-to-back, and Kawhi was the MVP, but he still played neck and neck. Like, let's be honest, KD won those Finals MVP, but they easily could have gone to Steph.
But that's not. I'm not saying elevate Paul George to Steph Curry's legacy. I'm saying just elevate him from where he is, and I think he'll get elevated regardless of a Finals MVP. I'm not saying he has to be in top 10 conversation like Steph, but if Paul George is at the 90th,
narrative is going to change,
and he wins, and he's now the 82nd, that's still elevating him.
Fluent.
Will he elevate? I guess because the original conversation, when you said elevated, I thought we were talking about elevated like to top 20 all-time stats.
That's going to be the conversation with him, Tone, like top 30, something like that.
There's no way people are going to try to put Paul George.
If he wins as the second guy, you think he's moving top 20?
Marz, I gotta listen to people tell me when Giannis won the NBA championship. Giannis is a top 20 player all time now.
Wow.
Yeah, but
he's in the top 20 all time now.
Yeah, people are insane.
This is this is a Giannis Antetokounmpo who you guys know. I think he's the best player in the game. But in 2021, Giannis Antetokounmpo had a 3 or 4 year stretch when he was awesome. That's it. So now we go from that to being a top 20 player.
That's not true.
So Paul, it is true.
Hold on, Giannis had about 6 year stretch where he's been awesome.
No, he didn't.
Before his ring.
Before his ring. Okay, I got you.
That's what I'm talking about.
I got you. That's what I'm talking about. Okay,
no,
my bad. I misheard you.
No, you straight. So what I'm talking about when I'm talking about Paul George, who played at an MVP level, who played at a Defensive Player of the Year level. So he played at all of these levels for a while. Now, when he got hurt, that kind of derailed it, but he was able to get some of it back. Now, if they were to be in the NBA championship, and he would have played an integral part of that. I'm not saying be the Finals MVP. I'm not saying be the Western Conference champion MVP. I'm saying if he played an integral part of that, considering everything that he had already done up until that point, and they win an NBA championship, the narrative is absolutely going to change on Paul George.
And listen, let's be safe.
I'm not going that far, Marz. No way am I going that far.
I'll agree on that point. I'll agree on that point that he'll be bumped up. But when we're saying top 20,
no,
like that's a huge, like that would suggest that he's in the 30s now.
Okay, let me ask it this way, and I know it's different.
In the 20s now. Excuse me.
I'm not saying it's the 20s exact same.
The good news is the likelihood of that happening is me shaving my head. And I'll bet you if they win a chip, I will shave my head.
Yes.
For how long? Like indefinitely?
We July the 11th, 2023. We got Tone on record. If the Clippers win the NBA championship, Tone is shaving his head.
I will shave my head live on the panel.
Well, Tone gonna win that one because Kawhi's only gonna play 45 games.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Y'all gave Tone an easy bet. That's an easy bet.
It is, yo. It is.
Yo, but ticket. Can I ask you a question?
What?
Paul George, Carmelo Anthony.
Melo. No. Melo. Yeah. Carmelo.
Paul George was in the conference finals 3 times.
No.
Career or peak? Make it clear.
Doesn't matter. I'm going with Melo because, first of all, like you said, Melo was in a tougher conference most of his career. So he spent half of that in the Western Conference off the top as a young guy, battling the Tim Duncans of the world, the Kobe's of the world, all those guys. So that was first and foremost. Versus everybody always talked about how weak the East was when Paul George was over there. The only team he really had to have a problem with was with the Miami Heat super team, blah, blah, blah. So that's first and foremost. Secondly, I just thought Carmelo Anthony showed more consistency as far as just when he came in the league. You know what I'm saying? He was robbed of a couple awards. We know that. Should have been the Rookie of the Year. And, you know, like I said, he carried that Denver Nuggets team all those years up until he left. I didn't see Paul George out enough to see him carry teams. You know what I'm saying? I seen him carry 2 Indiana Pacers teams, but before then, it wasn't even his team. He was still a young guy. Then he got hurt, so that kind of threw him off. And then he came back, and then they fell off in Indiana, and he get Indiana asking for the trade. So I like Melo's career better than I like Paul George's too. I think Melo achieved more, a little bit more. That's it. I think.
Why did
you know Melo's won 3 playoff series in his career?
No. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying, I've said to you this. I said that the West was stronger, in my opinion. So when you get into the West, and all you do is look at who he's playing in the first round. See that was it. Like that's goes back to a conversation I was having the other day with some bozo on here about Bill Russell. He was talking about, oh man, Bill Russell's greater than all these other guys. Well, Bill Russell's had playoffs. He only played one series, and then he's in the NBA Finals. Versus guys now, you're ranking them against guys now who had to go through three series just to get to the finals and then win the finals. That's easy. That's easier the route Bill Russell went through versus playing the route these guys got to play now when you got to go through a gauntlet.
Is it though?
That's not 100% accurate though.
Yeah,
that's not 100% accurate.
Let me give you a perfect example of that.
I'm listening.
Dirk's championship was tougher than half of Bill Russell's championships.
I mean, if I start factoring what Bill Russell
there was more playoff rounds.
Because I'm saying, because if you look at Bill Russell,
so he was fighting before he got to the arena.
Yeah, if I start having to factor in what Bill Russell was going through just to get into the arenas,
Bill Russell was beating teams with losing records to get to the finals. He beat one team with a losing record, and he's in the NBA Finals.
You could say the same thing about these teams. You could say the same thing about Magic. Yes, you can. I heard everything you just said, Ticket. You could say the same thing about all of these other teams that are playing against you. You could say the same thing about these all these other teams that are playing.
Dirk playing the West. I'm waiting.
What losing team?
Dirk went through the gauntlet. I can keep going.
That 1 year,
no. I can keep going.
No question about that. No question.
But hold on. What bad teams did Kobe and them play in the playoffs?
No, Kobe, sure. What about Magic Johnson?
No. I'm asking you. Hold on. I'm giving you the names of the guys.
No, we're talking about the Western Conference during that time.
I'm giving you the guys.
Yeah, you can say that's tougher than the 60s.
Hold on, but I'm giving you some. So my point is this. My point is this. You can always look at something, but it's harder. To me, you got to look at the competition too, because if you're playing, for example, if I'm playing a team with a losing record in the playoffs versus these guys playing against a tough team because the whole conference is tough. Remember, back then when Melo played, the whole goddamn conference was stacked. So it wasn't just him. He was in there with Duncan and Ginobili had hair. He was in there with Kobe Bryant, all them guys stacked up in the same conference. So you playing these guys in the first round. It don't matter who you run into, whether it's KG and the T-Wolves, any of those teams. You playing them dudes, every round you playing a heavy hitter. So if you Melo, those are your series versus if you're a guy like Paul George, you got a cakewalk basically in the first round. If you're a guy like Bill Russell, you playing a team that's 35 and 37, and then if you beat them, you in the NBA Finals. You win 11 chips, and everybody say you're the greatest of all time. No.
Ticket, wait a minute, though.
Wait. How come you're not bringing up all the times in the first round where they played guys with 59 and 55 wins? Because that happened half of those years too.
No. I'm saying half. But I'm giving you half the chips because that's the reason why we praise Bill Russell so much.
I mean, half of Bill Russell's chips is still like MJ's amount of chips. I mean.
No, but still, hold on. Still, you still got to look at it, though. It's still not on the same scale because they wasn't playing the amount of teams. Like, once you have to play more, like I told Chill this the other day, I gave him a narrative.
Oh, I agree. So does that mean so LeBron playing 30 teams is better than MJ when he was playing like 23, right?
Because I don't want people to misunderstand me. We was talking about shooting, right? Marz, I can shoot 50% from the three and look like Craig Hodges if I'm only taking 2 shots a game, 2 threes a game. Because all I got to do is make one. But if I'm shooting 50 from the three, shooting 8 a game, now that's harder to do. So all I'm saying to Chilltown and Fluent is this. If we take Bill Russell for an example, him having to play one playoff round to get to the finals versus these dudes that got to go through 3 rounds just to get to the finals, all right there already. Because even if you go back and say, okay, we changed the format, put more teams, and Bill Russell had to play the same amount of rounds. Do he got the same amount of chips? Do he even got 4 or 5 chips then? If he had to play all those rounds and it was more teams and he had to go through a whole gauntlet? No, because if that was the case, if you put guys like Shaquille O'Neal,
but if that was the case, Ticket, he would also have more teams to play in the regular season and bad teams where he could take nights off. With only 8-9 teams in the league, every night he had a tough matchup. So to be in the top 4, you were still beating the best of the best.
He wasn't.
And that being said, and listen, I'm not saying it's what you're saying is 100% false. It's not. There's some validity to it, but we know that there's guys who were playing in the East who in the first round played, a below 500 team, second round played a 500 team. So really, are they going to be losing to below 500 teams and 500 teams? So really, they only played one good round, and then they were in the finals. So there are cases, there are instances like that too. So to use that example, when everybody has had that opportunity at some point.
I'm talking about a dude who played the chunk of his career in the West and Melo. That's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about a dude who was in that Western Conference who played those tough teams. See, this is the thing. We knock Melo for being in the Western Conference and not winning a championship or getting to the finals all these times, but we don't knock his competition. We never talk about the competition he played. See what I'm saying? But we'll praise Bill Russell and ignore the fact that he was playing losing teams a lot of those years just to get to the finals in one round.
But it wasn't a lot of those years. Just like I don't praise Bill Russell, as most of you know. I don't even have Bill Russell. I don't even have Russell in my top 10. Russell's not even in my top 10. But there was maybe 2 or 3 years where in that first round he had a sub 500 team, and there was more times that he had a 55 plus win team than a sub 500 team. So it
go ahead, Marz. Go ahead.
Clearly balances out.
Saying Bill Russell's not top 10. Oh my god, that hurt my chest.
I know you're GOAT. You're GOAT.
Yeah, that's the GOAT right there. But I understand the 8 threes 50% is harder than 2 threes 50% because the more you take, the more likely you are to miss them. So with that, and obviously understanding that if there's more teams in the NBA, it's going to be harder. But you have Kareem at number 2 when he was going in a league where there was 18 to 24 teams, whereas Kobe's going up against 29 to 30 teams. I'm just confused that if Kobe's going through that toughest West, Kareem's going in a league where the ABA hasn't even merged at the start of his career. And then when it did, there was still like 22 teams.
Did Kareem have tough competition in the NBA?
Compared to Kobe or just
no,
compared to? I'm asking about Kareem and Kobe.
No, I'm saying in his era,
relative to Kobe.
Was there a lot more competition in Kareem's era than it was Bill Russell's?
But I'm not arguing about Kareem. I'm arguing about Kareem and Kobe. But why would I answer that question? It's not relevant. Why would I answer that question if it's not relevant?
Now when it doesn't suit your argument, then you don't want to
No, it's not about suiting my argument. It's not relevant to what I'm asking.
You grill me and tell me, answer my question.
No, if I'm asking you about Kareem and Kobe, and then you ask me about Kareem and Bill Russell, you have to tell me why that's relevant.
Because you changed it to Kareem. So now I can't.
Yes, because I heard your logic. You spoke about more teams would make it more difficult, and I agree with you. So I'm asking, when it pertains to Kareem and Kobe,
you didn't want to.
Is that not the same thing?
Because
Kareem and Bill Russell is not relevant to Kareem and Kobe. I'm not arguing that Bill Russell had it harder than Kareem. I'm not arguing that with you because I don't disagree. I'm asking when it comes to Kareem and Kobe, when you have Kareem over Kobe Bryant, when Kareem was going in a league with 18 teams, 22 teams, 23, 24 teams, and Kobe's going through the toughest Western Conference through your own admission against 30 teams in the NBA. Why would you have Kareem over Kobe when we understand that more teams would make it more difficult? Well, and Kobe was in a tougher conference.
First of all, I have Kareem over Kobe because not only what he done on the court, but the accolades as well. You understand what I'm saying? The MVPs, Finals MVPs, all that is more than what Kobe had. So even though they both had superstar teams,
they have the same amount of Finals MVPs, but
no, I'm saying, but even though they had superstar teammates, you feel what I'm saying? I felt like Kareem accomplished more as far as his accolades. So that is the reason why I would put Akeem over Kobe Bryant. I still do think, and I think it's the eye test too. Like when I look at a guy like Bill Russell, Marz, jump shot like Lonzo Ball, can't shoot free throws, bad offensive game. I sit here and watch tapes of this dude miss 3-4 shots in a row and get tipped back because he couldn't make a layup. You understand what I'm saying? No disrespect to the late Bill Russell. I'm just telling the truth. You know what I'm saying? Great athlete. You know what I'm saying? Very good shot blocker. Run the court. You know what I'm saying? Dunk the ball in certain situations, whatever. But I just ain't impressed with his game. With Kareem had one move, and nobody on earth could stop it. It was the most unstoppable move in the history of the NBA, the sky hook. I'm seeing Kareem throw a sky hook over 2 dudes, 3 dudes. They could not stop it. And he was a frail dude that you could push outside the basket. So for me, when I'm looking at that, I'm looking at one dude who used one move that made him the greatest scorer to ever live until LeBron James came, right? Helped him win multiple championships. Even before he played with Magic Johnson, he proved that he could be the man and win a championship in that Milwaukee team. So when I'm looking at that, that's the reason why I put him over Kobe, because realistically, as much as I love Kobe, he hadn't been able to prove nothing before Shaq. Kareem proved that he could be the man on a championship team before he went over to play with Magic Johnson.
Once.
Wait, is that okay? Is that Kobe's fault that he got drafted to a team that just got Shaq? Is that Kobe's fault?
Kobe though. That's once more, and he proved that before he played with Magic.
Yeah, Kobe got drafted to a team that had Shaq on it. That's like saying Magic couldn't prove himself without Kareem first when Magic got drafted to the team of Kareem.
From day one, when Kareem came in the NBA, he was the best player in the league. From day one.
How good was Kobe at 22?
I didn't say. Hold on, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying
Kobe was in the conversation.
From what I saw,
Kareem had 4 years of college. Kobe was 18.
I'm with you. Hold on, Marz. Listen, what I'm saying to you. I'm just telling you. Because I didn't feel this way about Kobe, and I love Kobe. I didn't think he was the greatest player in the league from day one going into the league. It don't matter when you win in the league, because if we did that, we could do that with LeBron and Kobe debates. But we can't do that.
I'm perfectly fine with doing that. Kareem was 22. Kobe was 18. Like, what do you expect?
We can only judge your career off how it went and what you did. So when Kareem came out of college to the NBA, from day one, he was the best player in the world. These is facts. He was the best player in the world. And he led the Milwaukee team to a championship. That is the reason why I got him over Kobe, because before he played with Magic. Now, Magic helped his career be prolonged, but you got many people that will tell you that they don't think that Kobe Bryant would have won championship at least his first 7 or 8 years if he didn't have Shaq with him.
Okay, but
that's the difference. To me, it's close, but that's the difference. To me, you asked me what the difference is. That's the difference right there. The difference is that I seen Kareem come in the league and do it before him. See what I'm saying? I didn't see Kobe come and be able to do it before. And listen, that's just how your career goes. Same thing with Carmelo. If you didn't have Joe Dumars being a jackass trying to prove to the world, I'm going to go pick Darko Milicic, Carmelo, the whole NBA history's changed. Because Melo got 3 rings and LeBron is X'd out. But that's not how it goes.
If you're saying it's based on Kobe had an unfortunate, I'm not going to call having Shaq an unfortunate situation, but he was drafted to a situation where it wasn't going to be possible for him to be the best player on the team. That's perfectly fine. But
I can't judge Marz. I can't judge him. I can't judge Kobe.
Yeah, that's fine. I'm not going to debate with. Yeah, there's nothing to argue. So yeah,
you know what I'm saying? See now, listen, and somebody will say, well, why don't you judge Kobe and LeBron that way? Well, first of all, I judge Kobe and LeBron James different. Because of the simple fact that Kobe and LeBron James, they both came in the league, both came out of high school, so they both came in a similar way, except for LeBron was given the keys from day one. Now, he went to the finals in the first 4 or 5 years of his career, but he didn't get it done. Then he had to go leave to win the chip. You understand what I'm saying? Kobe Bryant wanted to get away from Shaq and prove he could do it without Shaq. And that is where the separator is the will, the skill, the guts, the mentality is with guys like Mike, guys like Kobe and those dudes that are cut like that, and why I rate them over certain other dudes. Like Chill may come in here and say, hey man, well LeBron got this record, that record, that record. And I'm just like, look, when I'm looking at them, I'm looking at other things too. I'm looking at dog, I'm looking at killer instinct, I'm looking at will, I'm looking at drive, I'm looking at championship level situations, what you did in the biggest mix. Yeah, we seen Kobe Bryant not have a great series against the Detroit Pistons and lose that series. But we've seen LeBron do it more at the biggest stage.
Why? I got to go back to the Kareem thing. Why aren't you holding Kareem to the same standard that you hold Kobe, where you say, people say, who cares, but people say Kobe couldn't have won without Shaq.
Nigga, he won without Magic.
Kareem, hold on.
Yeah,
Kareem
with
played,
Oscar
Kareem
Robertson.
played,
I mean, I guess.
Kareem played and got bounced in the second round.
Who's the best player?
Then he gets Oscar, and then he gets Oscar, and they win. He doesn't then win again for what, 9, 8 years until he gets Magic.
Chilltown. I mean, Fluent. If I go get a bad chick, that's built like Buffy the Body, before the other chick come around, nigga, I've been getting bad chicks. Some niggas been getting bad chicks.
He only played 1 year. He only played 1 year before he got his rookie season. He got bounced in the second round, and then he gets Oscar and they win. And then he doesn't win again. So did he really prove? Did he really prove that he couldn't win? Did he prove? I'm just asking the question. Did he prove he couldn't win without an elite point guard? Yes or no?
What are you talking about?
Yes, he did.
He was the best player on the team.
When did he win without an elite?
When did he win without an elite point guard?
This is what we're leaving out. Did he prove that he can win without an elite point guard? First of all, even though Oscar Robertson was still playing at an elite level, I believe he was in year 11 at that point, and I think he retired 2 years after that. Jabbar was in year 2.
Thank you.
when this happened.
And then what did he
do?
He still didn't win without an elite point guard.
But he didn't win
That's
without
not
him.
the point, Marz.
That was the question.
Argument could go the same way for Kobe. Did he win without an elite big man?
And that's fine. We can make both arguments as long as both arguments are made. That's the point. It's about consistency.
That's my point. Is why aren't we being
Y'all
consistent?
making it seem like he wasn't the best player on the team. This is the type of shit Fluent do.
No, Kareem was the best player. No one's
Kareem
arguing.
was
He
the
was
best player. He was absolutely the best player.
Somebody hit me about your ass and that fake ass. You talking about Williams score 100, nigga. I'm gonna pull up on you about that. But y'all push. Fluent will come on here and he'll trick everybody and make y'all think man didn't score 100 points because Fluent said so. Then he'll make you think that Kareem didn't win a chip before Magic Johnson, and then he'll move the goalpost and say, "Oh well,
he won one. You know, he won one. Hold on, he won one chip.
He showed me.
Hold on. One chip. Hold on. He won one chip without Magic Johnson, like 10 years before.
Right.
Okay. Literally, yeah, actually 10 years, if not 9 or 10 years before. Okay. Yep. And he had, and yes, Oscar was 32, but he was still putting up 28 and 6 and playing 40 minutes a game. So my question was, if you hold Kobe accountable and say he couldn't win those first 3 years without Shaq, how are you not going to say the same thing about Kareem not being able to win without an elite? Without an elite point guard.
Kareem was the best player on his team. And then let me ask you this, Chilltown, how did the Bucks get Kareem in the draft?
They were terrible.
They were a newly found franchise like the year before.
Yeah, they were bad.
Man, you done, dog.
Yeah, they were bad. But two things can be true. Two things can be true. I appreciate that, Logic. Two things can be true.
Let's be clear. It was their first year in the NBA and they won 27 games. It was their first year in the NBA. Just be clear.
What we can't discount though, Tone, is even though he didn't win the NBA championship without an elite point guard, are we just going to leave out the fact that he was the best player in that decade? It's not a question. He was the best player in that decade.
He was the best player in that. Absolutely. But his question was, can he win without him?
Can he win without an elite? Well,
he never proved it, right? That's my only point. Yes or no?
He never proved that he could. He never. But what we can't discount is that
no one wants to answer the question. No one wants to answer the question. Did he prove? Well,
it's a rhetorical question because we already know that he didn't win without an elite point guard.
I just want everybody to say it.
He did not win without an elite point guard. However, how many guys, Tone, that are all-time greats didn't win without elite players? How many? Not many.
Okay.
Keep going, Dom. That's one. Keep going.
I would say Hakeem, Dirk. I mean, the list is pretty strong, but Hakeem, Dirk. I don't think there was elite players.
Wait, define elite players.
Define elite.
Don't do that.
J. Kim was not elite when he was on the Dallas Mavericks. He was not an elite.
Hold on, come on. Stop right there, Dom.
Was Powell elite?
Every time, Kid-Town, you see what he just did, right?
Yes.
He fell into that rabbit hole. Every time I come on here and say that J. Kidd was nowhere near the player he was, everybody bring up that he made the All-Star team that year. I don't want to hear no excuses.
I didn't even know he made an All-Star. I just think Jason Kidd was still very good. I just think he was still very good.
Let's get this straight. So for future reference, J. Kidd was nowhere near the same when he played with Dirk, right?
No, he wasn't close to his prime. I still think he's very good.
Okay.
And Oscar Robertson wasn't either.
Hold on. So
he wasn't close to his prime. He was still very good. That's the point.
Hold on. You're comparing J. Kidd. Hold on. You're comparing J. Kidd, who was 8-8, to Oscar, who was 28 and 6.
Nigga, he asked.
Wait. So you talking about Tone? You bringing up numbers? You talking about a guy in Oscar Robertson who went from no. You're not getting away with that.
Jason Kidd was 37.
Even if he was 37 years old, you talking about a dude who was 28 and 8. Hey, Tone, do you know that Oscar Robertson for 8 straight years went 30, 10, and 9?
Thank you.
30, 10, and 9 for 8 straight years. We go from 30, 10, and 9 to 28 and 8. Are you kidding me?
He was giving the score to Kareem.
I mean, I think you can still be elite and past your prime. I don't know why.
You can be. No, that's what I'm not. Marz, I will never argue the fact that you could still be elite in year. I mean, Kobe Bryant in 2012 was in year 16. He was still elite. He was past his prime, but he was still elite, 100%. But what you're not going to do is you're not going to sell me that a guy in Oscar Robertson who was, what did you say, Tone, 28 and 5 or something like that, 28 and 8?
28 and 6.
28 and 6, as opposed to a guy that goes 30, 10, and 9 for almost a decade. Those two dudes are not the same guy. Not even close to the same guy.
I know Oscar Robertson.
And he won with that guy, by the way. And it's not like Jabbar inherited an elite point guard. How about the fact that Oscar Robertson inherited an elite big man? How about that?
Yeah, Oscar joins Kareem.
He went there. Oscar joined Kareem.
No one's arguing that. Oscar was still an elite player. That's what I'm saying. Oscar was still elite.
That part I won't argue, Marz, because I do feel that he was elite. 100%. He was still elite. No question about that. What he wasn't what he used to be, though.
Yes, he wasn't as good as he used to be.
No, he wasn't that.
No, he wasn't as good as he used to be. But you can't compare him to 37-year-old Jason Kidd.
Can I ask, to the crowd of people saying rookie Magic wouldn't have been considered an elite point guard his rookie year? Why not? Like, what's holding him back his rookie year from being an elite point guard? What was it?
There wasn't 3 point guards in the NBA better than Magic Johnson. And if you wanted to argue, I mean,
as a rookie,
Johnson, yes. Magic Johnson plus Norm Nixon. I mean, I guess.
So he can't be elite because he had Norm Nixon?
No, I'm just saying. I mean, if Kareem has both of them, and they're both top 5 point guards in the game,
easy work, Tone.
Just remember when Magic asked Coach, "Who's the point guard?" He said, "Whoever gets the ball first, go." Like it was like a today's type of offense. Literally, he said, "No positions, just run, go." Like, anyways, whatever.
When you're talking about, I want to get back to what we were talking about in terms of Carmelo Anthony and Carmelo Anthony and who were we talking about? Carmelo Anthony and Paul George, right? When you're talking about those two players, Paul George became back. He got back to what he used to be, but he had a stretch where he wasn't that guy for a long time due to injury. That matters.
Melo
Once he got
consistent for almost 16 years.
That's the point that's exactly where I was going.
Carmelo
Anthony. No, hold on, but Marz, you got to remember, he went to a horrible franchise in the Knicks to try to turn them around, and he did turn them around. They just fired the coach, and then he got hurt after that. So their star players got hurt. Amari got hurt. You understand what I'm saying? When he went over there, Amari got hurt.
I hated him leaving Denver too, by the way.
Was MVP candidate.
Could have just waited 6 extra months and gone in free agency.
Hold on, he went over. No, I'm saying the year before he went over there, Amari was MVP candidate. Then when he gets over there, Amari gets hurt. Then he still takes the team to the playoffs. That's when Woody came, and they won 55 games, and they still went to the playoffs. He turned the whole franchise around. It was the first time they had went in like a decade. So he did that, and then they ended up firing Woody like a year later.
Which they shouldn't have, which was a mistake. Which was a mistake.
And Melo got hurt in that playoffs against the Indiana Pacers. He hurt his shoulder, and that's the reason why. And remember, they had beat the Miami Heat every single game that season. So they wanted to play LeBron and them again. They had beat them every game. They wanted to play them.
That's the best team that the Miami Heat had ever had, too, by the way, Marz. Right. That they ran up on.
So then you look at that, and I say, okay, that's what happened with the Knicks. Then he got traded over to OKC, and the rest, he went the hell after that. He still went to the playoffs with Portland and with OKC, but it wasn't the same no more. Now, let's look at this situation right here. Paul George, when he came on in Indiana, he wasn't a man for like the first 3 years, right? Because Danny Granger was over there doing his thing.
That's correct.
Melo came in as a man from day one leading his team to the playoffs. If you go look at Paul George, I mean, bro, it was like he did his thing, but it was like 3 years before. And the only reason why he really got that spot like that is because Danny Granger got hurt, because Danny Granger was the man. So let's keep it 100.
Still won 3 playoff series in his career. I mean,
I'm just hold on. It's different. Well, again, it's when you playing in different conferences. Y'all always talk about how the Eastern Conference was a weaker conference. So when when you say that with a guy like Paul George, now by Paul George's third year, he was averaging 17 points a game. He made the All-Star team by his third year. That's the year they played Miami in the conference finals. But if you go look at that playoffs and look at the teams that they was playing in the playoffs that year. They played the Atlanta Hawks in the first round of that playoff. You understand what I'm saying? And the Atlanta Hawks' best player was Josh Smith that year. So that's pretty much what you're talking about. That was their best player was Josh Smith. Then
Melo lost to the Elton Brand Clippers one time.
No. I'm just saying, hold on, but Elton Brand Clippers was solid because Elton Brand and the Clippers, they were winning like 50, 55 games.
I thought they was going to the Western Finals that year.
Right. We thought they was back on track. Then he played the Knicks in that next round, right? That was a year. That was a year before came over there, right?
He beat Melo in the playoffs.
Hold on. They beat him in the playoffs. You got to give them that.
They were better. They were better than the Knicks. Don't make it sound like he beat Melo. Indiana was better than the Knicks.
Because
the Knicks won like 55 games.
Melo's second best player was J.R.
Jason Kidd was ancient.
That was his second best player was J.R. Smith. And so, and remember, Amari got hurt. So he wasn't playing. He only played like a few games in that series. Amari got hurt. Remember, I told you Amari got hurt. So then, like I said, after that, you play Miami. Now he balled against Miami, but if you go look at Carmelo, man, Carmelo coming in here playing Tim Duncan, Tony Parker, and David Robinson off the rip, first round in their prime. Next year you playing Kobe and them. Next year you playing Tim and them again, I think. Next year you playing let me see. This was insane, the teams that Carmelo was playing coming into the playoffs, bro. So
he lost to the Timberwolves one time.
Hold on, he was 19 years old. Right, he did. Hold on, he was 19 years old. Remember this? He came in. That was his first year.
2000,
Marz is right.
It was the year the Timberwolves.
His first year. Hold on. His first year they lost to the T-Wolves.
Best team that they ever had.
Hold on.
Like Marz,
Ron, how much Melo?
No, I'm not. I agree. The West was stacked. I agree.
Marz is right. I remember he lost.
I'm not arguing that the West wasn't stacked.
That was the year the T-Wolves had Sprewell, Cassell, and KG.
Yeah.
That was a year, and that was his rookie season that he lost to them in the playoffs, and he still won a game. He didn't get swept. That was 19 years old. So then the next year, this is what Melo was doing in the West. The next year, right, he comes, wins 49 games, right, and they face Tim Duncan, Tony Parker, and David Robinson. I mean, not Tony Parker, Tim Duncan, Tony Parker.
Hold on, Ticket. Do you mean the NBA champion San Antonio Spurs?
Yeah, hold on. Let's keep going. Hold on, but let's keep going. Then the next year, he plays the Clippers, the one that we thought was going to be going deep into the playoffs to the final, right? That was the Elton Brand. That was the Clippers that had Brand, Sam Cassell, Coutinho, Mobley.
Was Corey Maggette?
Corey Maggette was there. Yeah,
all them dudes. They had
Sean Livingston.
All them dudes. Sean Livingston. All them dudes. Right. So let's keep going. Then the next year, this is who Melo was playing. The next year, the man plays the Spurs again with Tim, Tony, and them again.
You mean? Wait. You mean the world champion San Antonio Spurs in 2007?
Yes.
Ticket, I'm sorry. I just want to make sure I'm clear.
And he didn't get swept, Chilltown. He didn't get swept, right? That was the year that they went and played LeBron in the finals and won. He didn't get swept, right? So then the next year, Chilltown, he won 50 games. You know who he get to play in the first round? By winning 50 games, you know who he got to play?
The Lakers.
You see? There you go right there. You go. That's John Doe.
He had Allen Iverson on that team.
No. But you played the Lakers. You played the Lakers that went on to win the chip.
Yeah, and he had.
They were in the NBA Finals day. They were the Western Conference champion, NBA Lakers, Los Angeles.
I'm just saying, Carmelo had AI.
Wait, so we allowed to praise losing? We allowed to praise losing
now? No, we're not allowed to praise. No, we're not praising losing, Damo. That's not what we're doing.
I'm just asking. It's summertime, so we can praise losing.
No, we're not doing that.
Put yourself out
there. Yes. We're praising.
As long as you lose to great teams, it's okay.
We're not praising losing. I want to make sure we're clear.
We're praising a guy who's won 3 playoff series because he lost to great teams.
I'm listening to Ticket go at 19.
And I don't mind it. I understand. If you lose to a better team, you lose to a better team. I'm just weird. It's weird.
But in the end,
we're praising a guy who's won 3 playoff series.
Marz is nasty because AI wasn't the same after he left Philly. Marz know that. So Marz
was AI a top 10 player?
AI had
in 2008.
Yeah, I'm asking. Was AI a top 10 player to you, Ticket?
He played 3 years in the league after he left Philly, bro. And Denver was.
That's fine. Wasn't AI still averaging like 25?
It was a bad 24. It was about 24 and a half. It was a horrible 24.
That's probably the most efficient he ever was.
You mean inefficient? Kind of like his whole career?
That was probably the most efficient he ever was with Denver.
Well, I can say that. Well, he was. Well, yeah, Marz was right.
Exactly. So if Carmelo has AI, I mean that's somewhat.
I mean, but bro, you're not going. Hold on. That's not going to beat Kobe and Powell and
that's fine. And I'm not arguing that he should have beat them. I'm saying he's won 3 playoff series in his career. That's what I'm saying.
Right, hold on. But when you're playing Tim and those guys, so versus I look at Paul George and he's playing Josh Smith. Nigga, get the fuck out of here. What are we talking about? The nigga played Josh Smith.
Hold on! Don't you hold somebody else having a losing record? Don't you hold somebody else accountable for having a losing record?
That's the point. Thank you, Fluent. Thank you. Sometimes you just lose to better teams. It happens.
You don't want Fluent and Marz. You don't want that tag team.
Thank you. I was waiting for someone to connect the dots. I was waiting.
Guess what, you jackass? Guess what? The Atlanta Hawks actually had a winning record that season. They was 44-38. Now, what you saying, sucker? What you saying?
Oh, so Paul George beat a good team. Okay, that helps. There we go.
No, hold on. No. Listen. That team had injuries going into the playoffs, and Josh Smith was their best player.
Respect Josh Smith. Julius Randle with athleticism.
How about that guy with the losing record in the finals? Did you give him a break?
In the next year, Marz.
Nah, he can't give him a break.
Hold on. Hey, chill. Guess who they got again the next year in the first round?
The world champion.
No.
Oh, you talking about Indiana?
Paul George. And they played Atlanta again in the first round, and when they played the same thing, played Miami again in the conference finals. And guess who they played in the second round? Gilbert Arenas in the Washington Wizards, I believe.
Gilbert Arenas in 2014. That's the John Wall.
No, that wasn't Arenas. No, that wasn't Arenas. My bad.
That's John Wall, Bradley Beal.
That was. Hold on. That was
in 2009.
Yes,
Bradley Beal wasn't there.
We're talking 2014.
We're talking about Paul George. We're talking about Paul George.
John Wall was averaging 14 a game. That's who we played. And Bradley Beal was averaging 18. Those are the two best players on the team.
Mm-hmm.
So that was.
But who was the rest of the team though?
Martin Gortat.
We do.
Gortat was
a lot.
Gortat was good.
A lot on the top.
They had. I know that Wizards team had Jabari Smith on it. That Wizards team had Jabari Smith on it.
What you say, Floyd? So next year,
I said we focus a lot of our attention on those top 2-3 guys, but you got to go at least 8 deep because there are some teams that after the first 2-3 they're trash.
Well, let's do this then. The next year he didn't make the playoffs, so that's what y'all done right there.
Yeah, he had a broken leg. He had a broken leg. What? He had a broken leg here.
Nigga,
what?
Y'all not hearing, hold on. Y'all not listening.
What? His leg is broken.
Nigga, well, shit. He should have glued it back together then.
He should have played on one leg. Should have played on one leg.
So
one for the Gipper.
What happens the next year when you come back and lose to Toronto in the first round?
That was it. That was his first year back. Yeah, they lost to Toronto. That was a 7-game series. I remember they were talking about it.
He was balling that year.
Yeah, he was. Well, I don't remember that year for Toronto. I remember they lost in 7 games. I remember.
Guess what? This is what makes it worse. He lost to DeMar DeRozan as the Raptors' best player, shooting 31% from the field.
No, Kyle Lowry was
from the free throw, 16 from the three.
Kyle Lowry was the best player.
I
see your point. Yeah, losing to DeMar DeRozan is an indictment.
It was DeRozan that year. That year was I'm looking at it right now. It was DeRozan. DeRozan averaged 17.9 on 31 from the field, 16 from the three. And they beat them niggas. Hey. Kyle Lowry was averaging 13.9, and he shot 31 from the field and 16 from the three too. And they still beat them niggas.
Yeah, losing to DeMar DeRozan is an indictment on your legacy.
Yes, that's what this is about.
Losing to Paul George, losing to DeMar DeRozan pushes you back 10 spots.
We are moving on.
We're praising losing to the highest degree right now.
Yeah.
Who lost worse?
Now, what this started as, Damo, is this started with Paul George. Like, a lot of people talk about Paul George, and if he were to win an NBA championship, what would that mean for his career? That's where this whole thing started. What would that mean for Paul George's career if he were to win an NBA championship? My logic was
chill. But that's why I always be trying to tell y'all, when y'all grade players, everybody use winning bias. Because if you don't, look what this Negro Damo just said. He said, "Oh, we talking about big guys because they didn't win."
I said we're having a mid-off.
No, you're not hearing me. But listen what you're saying though. You saying
why is Paul George mid, Damo?
No, right. Hold on, but listen.
Oh, in the grand scheme, if we're talking about winners and we're talking about Paul George, we're not talking about but that's the lot. But hold on. I came in and we're talking about playoff series, who guys beat in the playoffs, who guys lost from. All I'm hearing is playoff statistics and who's winning what series. So in my mind, I'm coming to a conversation about winning and losing, and we're talking about two losers. So
no. Listen, they were talking about players, right? And so we were grading players, right? But once again, as I said, I've said this 1,000 times. Everybody say, "Oh, Chitchat use winning bias to judge players." Like when I judge Kobe and LeBron and all these other dudes, right? But everybody used the winning bias to judge players' talent.
So you're using losing bias now to judge?
No, I'm not saying that. I'm not saying
who lost better.
No, I'm not.
Yes, if you never won, it's just about who
lost better.
They said to me,
that's all I'm hearing. Who lost better? Hey, he lost to champions and the best of the best.
They was using that Carmelo only won 3 series to downgrade his career as a player. This is the type of shit that Fluent do. Fluent will sit up here and use everything that he can to take a dump on Carmelo's career.
I brought up the 3 series, to be fair. It wasn't Fluent.
No. Fluent did it the other day.
Oh, El Fluent, man. El Fluent.
Yeah, he did it the other day. But then he'll sit in here and cap. He'll cap and say that Vince Carter was the best thing he's seen since sliced bread.
I never said that. I just said he was better than Carl Loser.
Yo, okay, Chunk.
All right, y'all. Right now would be a good time to transition into the topic of the show. Not Emoni Bates yet, Marz. We'll get to him. We'll get to his.
So, but Ron, can we say this? Everybody use winning bias when they rank players as far as how good you are, how good you ain't.
Yeah,
I don't, but most people do. 99.9%.
So you can,
I feel like if you're talking about great, if it's a greatness conversation, yes. If it's greatness, then winning matters. But if you're talking about who's better, then I don't think winning matters.
I don't think I've ever unironically brought up championships to this stage.
Damo, I'm saying you can look at two players, Damo, and in your mind, just be honest for 1 second. You can look at two players and in your mind, not use whether winning or losing, race into the equation of how you look at that player.
Yes, again, I subscribe to the belief that you can have a GOAT list and a BOAT list, the greatest of all time and best of all time. Greatness and better are two different things. Greatness has a lot of accolades, statistics, and records. Better is simply roll the ball on the court. Who is the better basketball player?
That logic makes me nuts. That logic makes me nuts. There's a reason why my accolades are the way that they are. The reason why my accolades are the way that they are is because this is what my talent produced.
That's fine.
That's why. So the logic of you just being a better basketball player, that doesn't work, because you being a better basketball player, you were put in situations to win. You were put in situations to be awesome, and you didn't do that. I did it more than you did. So now what you're doing is what you're doing.
I'm just saying, but a guy like Tracy McGrady,
correct,
a wonderful basketball player. He was great. Like he was extremely talented, extremely skilled. But if you're compared to Paul Pierce. To me, I feel like Paul Pierce will be higher on a list if you're talking about greatness, right? Paul Pierce is higher, right?
Right. And
but in terms of skill, in terms of who's better, I feel like that's a way different argument.
Tracy McGrady is better at basketball than Paul Pierce. Meanwhile, Paul Pierce produced them all.
Fellas, we got to move.
I mean, yeah, give team at KG and Ray Allen. I mean,
so greatness and better. I mean, go
ahead, Ron.
It's two different. But go ahead, Ron. My fault.
We got some things we got to get into.
I get it.
The next thing I do want to talk to you guys about is, Fluent had mentioned it earlier, the NBA Cup. The NBA Cup, what is it? I'll go ahead and put this on the screen. NBA Cup is a midseason tournament. It starts November 3rd. All 30 teams will compete for the NBA Cup, with 8 teams advancing into a knockout round. The tournament has semis, has a championship game, and it's going to be held in Vegas.
Is it that early?
Yeah,
wow.
It starts November 3rd. And the championship will be December 7th, or the semis will be December 7th, and the championship December 9th. So let me break it down to you guys further. So you see the brackets on the screen, right? You got a West A, West B, West C, East A, East B, East C. So all 30 teams are divided into 6 groups of 5 teams. Groups are determined by the draw based on the prior season's regular season record. As you can see, these are the groups right here on the screen. Check them out, examine them. We're going to talk about each and every one of these groups. But tournament nights will take place every Tuesday and Friday from November 3rd through the 28th, with the exception of, November 7th, no games to be played. Each team plays 4 teams in its group once, 2 home and 2 away. All tournament games will count towards the regular season standings, except for the championship. The 2 teams in the championship actually will play 73 games in the season. So that's a first. In the knockout rounds, you obviously
don't you mean 83?
Thanks, Fluent. Now I'm more fluent. The quarterfinals will take place December 4th and the 5th at the home city of the higher seed, and then the semis and the championship. How I just said, it's going to be in Las Vegas. What's at stake? Teams will be competing for an all-new cup, league honors at the conclusion of the tournament. The NBA will name the most valuable player of the in-season tournament and an all-tournament team. Prize pool, there will be a prize for the players in the knockout rounds that they participate in. And yeah, that's about it in terms of the details. Fellas, how do we feel about these brackets?
I think we spoke too much about this tournament already. I'm not gonna lie to you.
You guys do know this tournament's gonna be a big thing, right?
It's gonna be huge.
And I'm gonna hate that we're gonna have to talk about it. I already don't like that we're talking about it right now. I hate it.
Fucking terrible. We got to talk about this. I'm telling you, man. You know why? I'm gonna tell you why, Marz. Because when we get later on, when we start having GOAT conversations, so like the Western Conference champion, 5-time MVP, the in-season tournament, 3-time tournament MVP, that's gonna be a part of the conversation. Just so you know. That's not something that's just going to go up.
They're adding in what they're doing. I've clocked onto their game. They're adding in accolades so that Victor Wembanyama can win all these different accolades and be called the GOAT. I see it. They're adding in the NBA Cup so he can win NBA Cup MVPs. They're adding in conference finals MVPs so he can have them and LeBron won't. I know what they're doing. I'm onto their games.
Don't stop, Marz. Don't stop right there.
That's what they're doing.
a lot of this stuff is like one and done type stuff.
That's
so
exactly
you ain't gonna get the real. It's like so whoever win, you can have a bad team win and then end up the regular season trash. You understand what I'm saying? And then go home and then what? What they gonna say? Oh, well, we won a tournament. What you're doing is you downgrading the NBA championship, and then what you're doing is you putting the players at more risk to get hurt for this dumbass tournament than they is gonna be for the playoffs. They already dropping like flies.
Ticket, hold on right there. Like you just said, just so you know, I'm sorry I'm laughing, but let me get it together. Just so you know, there's going to be a team that's going to get hot, like the Charlotte Hornets or the Detroit Pistons, right? Or the Houston Rockets. And they're going to come into this tournament and they're going to win 4 or 5 straight games, and they're going to end up in the championship game. And what's going to happen is everybody's going to say, yo, the Houston Rockets could win the NBA championship, which is ultimately a money grab. Because not just the 6 of us, outside of Houston, the 99% of people who actually watch basketball do not believe that the Houston Rockets are going to win the NBA championship. But the fact that they,
Marz does.
If we win the NBA Cup, let's believe it.
This is what I'm talking about. But the fact that they win, but the fact that they win the in-season tournament, it creates a buzz, which now creates more viewership, which also generates more bread. And now this MVP of the in-season tournament now becomes a bigger deal. When in reality, I'm glad you're here, Marz. In the mid-season, has anybody won the if I'm not mistaken, what is it called? The mid-season cup and going on to win the UEFA Cup. Has that ever happened?
The way there's a trophy, especially in England, it's called the Carabao Cup. It's basically what this NBA Cup is.
Right.
It means nothing. If you win it by itself, if that's the only trophy you win, no one cares.
Has anybody ever won that and gone on?
Yeah, there's a team. Well, I can't remember if the teams won the Carabao Cup and won like the Champions League, but it's more of like an addition. If you win the Champions League, it's like, oh, you won the Champions League, that's great. You also won the Carabao Cup, nice. But if you win the Carabao Cup and win nothing else, it's like no one cares. It's a terrible trophy. No one cares. But
that's
no one cares. It's like an additional trophy. It's not something that is a centerpiece. It's something that if you won it on top of something else, oh, nice, you won that too. But if it's the only thing you won, yeah, your season was terrible.
But let's be clear. Let's be clear. Let's be clear. Let me be the voice of reason. Because
here we go, Ticket. I'm telling you, Ticket. Here we go.
Listen, because the reason they're doing this is because we all understand people are taking the regular season and they're not taking it seriously, right? You got guys like Jimmy Butler who say, hey, whether I'm hurt or not, I'm going to play this many games. I want to stay fresh. I want to be ready for the playoffs. You have guys like Popovich, right, who load manages, right, his players and does all this stuff. And they're trying to find a way. Hold on, let me finish. They're trying to find a way to make the regular season mean more. So they're like, hey, if we put these games in during the regular season that qualify you for this mid-season cup, maybe people and players will take the beginning of the season more seriously and they'll play more games. What they're forgetting is, and now this is the bad part, is that once that cup is over, if you've played that one extra game or you've played into that, those same guys are just going to move their load management, move their days off to after that cup. Because, yeah, they want to win that cup. They want the bragging rights, but it's going to backfire. But they're doing it to try and an attempt to make the regular season mean something. And I think they missed, but hey, at least they're trying. I'll give them an A for effort.
They already did that though, Tone. You know what they did? They said that in order for you to make the All-NBA team, you got to play 65 games. That's what they did. Now what happened?
They don't believe that's enough. I don't think they believe that.
It has to be. You know why, Tone? Because what's going to happen is guys like Anthony Davis, the better players in the game, they're going to see guys like Julius Randle be a 3-4-time All-NBA performer. And I got to keep watching that. So in the end of his career, that's what he's going to be. Y'all made the All-NBA team 5 times. I made the All-NBA team 7 times because you only played 40 games.
Talk about how the money affects their contracts too, because if you're not playing those games, you don't get those awards. Those incentives don't kick in your contract. Which
is what I was getting to. So for example, everybody looking at Tyrese Halliburton's contract, the fact that it's up to $260 million. It's not $260 million guaranteed. It's up to $260 million, which means that he's got to be in the top 5 in the league in MVP votes. He's got to make the All-NBA team. He's got to make the All-Star team. They got to go deep in the playoffs. Well, in order for that to happen, he's going to have to play, and he's going to have to play a lot. That's the idea of making the regular season relevant. This in-season cup, this is a money grab that's going to be meaningless to us, but people are going to start to hear it, and they're going to see a guy like Jason Tatum, or they're going to see a guy, I'm sorry, not Jason Tatum, a guy like Lonzo Ball or LaMelo Ball win the in-season cup MVP, and now LaMelo Ball is the best point guard in the NBA.
I mean, but and I'm gonna be super honest. When it comes to the in-season cup thing, it's only going to matter as much as the players make it matter. If we get to that point to where it's December and the final 4 teams, which is what I hope, honestly, is a bunch of teams that are on the edge of trying to turn their teams around, or it's a bunch of young guys. So you have Houston, Detroit, you have these teams that were rebuilding for the past couple of years, and now they got these young guys playing for something. I would much rather it be that than you have the Nuggets and Lakers resting Bron and Jokic to let other guys play. If it's that, then yeah, it's not going to mean anything. But if it's meaningful games for young teams, then it's just something fun for the season to watch. It's up to the fans to really dictate how much we put weight into it. If we're up here, hold on. If we're up here saying, hey, it's not going to really mean much in the end, then keep that same energy. It's fine. It's just something to watch. It's just a little bit of incentives for guys on 2-way contracts and rookies and guys who aren't making max money. Make a little more bread, have something to play for. It's cool. It's not bad. It's not like they're adding 12 games to the season. Hold on. It's considered in season. All the stats go towards your end of the season stats. It's regular season games. The only games that aren't considered regular season games are the final 4 game. That's final 4 games is going to be or the final 4 teams that's going to play December 9th in Vegas. Which, I mean, again, no one cared if it was December 9th on a Tuesday or Wednesday and the Timberwolves are playing the Magic. No one would have cared. But now that you have this cup thing going on there in Vegas, there's more stipulations and incentives. It might give you a reason to watch Paolo play Anthony Edwards now, which I'm not mad at. If it gives opportunity for guys who haven't been seen before, who aren't getting played, we have people going on during the playoffs talking about they haven't watched Jokic play yet. So yes, it gives guys a chance to actually be seen, be heard. If LaMelo Ball is going to get this award and now people are finally going to respect LaMelo Ball, I'm all for that. If Paolo finally gets the respect he deserves because he balled out during the in-season tournament, I'm all for that because we need more of that. I'm so sick of people only caring about Steph Curry, Giannis, and LeBron. We need to start caring about these other guys. I'm all for it.
The other guys need to start doing what they was doing though when they came in, which is win. Once you win and take over, that's what changes the barometer.
How do you win with the Charlotte Hornets? How do you win with that?
Let me finish. Once you was doing what Luka was on the path to doing, which is starting to go through dudes and get to the conference finals and stuff like that, you start to take over and gain your respect. Once you're doing what Jokic is doing right now, which is trying to take over the league, that's when you get your respect. You understand what I'm saying? That's what mostly all of the foreign players are doing now. They're coming over here in a league where they used to not be respected that much, to now they're the most respected because they got most of the best players in the league right now in the NBA. But this could be something like the bubble, like based on what you're saying, to where a team like Phoenix goes in that's horrible, wins every game in the bubble, and then from there on, it propels them to, have a better mentality. So I do understand where you're coming from, because it's still cats now that come to me and say, yeah, nigga, but Phoenix, they won all the games in the bubble, nigga. I'm like, damn, y'all still be thinking about that? Like, but I thought about it. What you said do have a point, because it could propel you, because I think that did kind of propel them, and it gave them a sense of confidence going into the next season that they were better than what they were before that. So, yeah, and I don't think that Phoenix would have turned it around the way they did it. They didn't have that little time in the bubble. So I do agree. But like I said, man, I don't think the big dog's going to play hard. I don't think the big dog's going to play hard.
I don't either. I really think you're going to have teams like I said, this is going to be filled with young teams full of guys on rookie deals. This is going to be for the guys that aren't going to get into the playoffs or anything like that. A chance for them to have something to play for, which, I mean, hey, give them something to play for. There's nothing wrong with it. It's not like they're changing the dynamic of what we know the NBA as for whatever. I mean, it's just something new. It's something different. People complain. I'm not saying nobody up here, but there's people complaining about more basketball. Like, how could you complain? I love this game. I'm not about to complain about more basketball. What?
That's my thing. If the games even become somewhat more meaningful, and if like how Damo said, if it's the Detroit Pistons, the Oklahoma City Thunder, Marz's Rockets, and the Charlotte Hornets, I'm tapped in. If I know, and here's the thing, these young players have something to prove in terms of who they are in their game and who they want to be, but then also too, the money that's on the line for that is going to be meaningful for them. It might not be meaningful for LeBron, might not be meaningful for Steph, might not be meaningful for Jimmy Butler, but that $1 million that's on the line for these young bucks, they want that money. So if I'm tapped into a tournament style play with just those 4 teams, I'm gonna watch it. especially on December 9th.
Is everybody else going on?
I'm going to watch these young bucks go at it. And I'm going to enjoy it too. And we're going to come on the show the next day and talk about how much that this happened and this happened. And he should have won because he did this or didn't do
I'm with you, Ron. I'm with you, but is everybody else going to watch it? You know they ain't.
Yes. Yeah, yes.
Hold on. If
people watch the bubble.
Hold on. If it's bad,
we're watching Summer League.
No, you're not.
Wherever you're talking about Summer League.
No, you're not hearing.
No, that's completely different. The country was shut down. We had nothing else going on. So we had to watch that.
You're right, Chill. Ron is right. We're watching the Summer League. We watch the Summer League every year.
I'm gonna tell you the truth. They watch Summer League because you had #1 overall pick, who these dudes been touting for all this time, coming to the Summer League. That's why
people watch Summer League for Wembanyama and Zion. They weren't watching it for.
I don't think the NBA.
People out there watching the money.
I don't think. Hey, bro. I don't think the casual fans care about the sorry teams. They didn't even know who Jokic was, bro. Into the finals, bro. They don't care about them. Bro, listen, in the world we live in, it's all about ratings, man. It's all about what numbers you doing. What ratings are you doing? If they got the worst teams that we the hardcores, us, yeah, we gonna watch it. But the main, it's gonna get shut down when they're not making the money they think they're gonna make off of it. Because like you just said, the big dogs ain't gonna play hard. You think Kawhi is getting ready to get up and play hard?
Hey, but
he's not. But Jabari Smith is. Jabari Smith about to go out there and drop 40.
But the casuals don't care about no Jabari Smith
until he drops 40. If you see that headline, him drop, okay.
We'll I don't think it's going to get to that point though. Now I came up here and I said the Rockets, the Pistons, the Hornets, and the Spurs. They're not going to make it because I guarantee it's going to be some team that might not be at the top of the pack, but that are going to be contenders that are going to play and are going to make the championship. And it may be like
telling you,
it might be like who. If it's not the Lakers, it could be. It might not be the Nuggets. Let's like
say it's like the Knicks or somebody in the middle of the pack, like the Knicks or somebody like that.
I can see the
Cleveland.
Celtics getting there. Cleveland for sure.
OKC.
Which is going to Cleveland Celtics semifinals. We'll for sure watch that.
Which is going to end up heightening viewership. And again, what people are going to say when Oklahoma City is in the championship in the in-season tournament, I told you that Oklahoma City was this. I told you that we go to the NBA Finals, when in reality, it's the first month of the season. Guys haven't even gotten amped up yet. We don't even know what the rest of the season is going to look like. But this is to increase viewership, and it's a money grab. That's it.
So I'm going to throw you guys a proposition. You let me know if you will watch this. So we got Cleveland, and then we got, let's say the Sixers.
It's like that because they're going to set up the groups so that you're going to see matchups that you wouldn't regularly see. That's going to be the draw, right? You're going to have a semifinal of like the Lakers against the Celtics. Oh, you have the groups?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so it's the top 3 teams from each group, and then the 4th team who actually performed the best out of all the remaining teams gets in.
Yeah, that'd be the wild card team.
But I'm gonna watch the in-season tournament regardless because I just watch basketball.
Right.
We're not talking about us. We're talking about, is Steve in Arkansas gonna go watch Cleveland against Philly in the semifinals?
But why are we caring about Steve in Arkansas?
That's the majority.
We should be caring. Well, that's the NBA's logic, though, Damo. They care about. They're trying to get Steve on board. They already got us. We already on.
But listen. But I'm telling you right now,
we're hooked.
No. I feel you, Fluent.
Casuals, right?
But listen. But Fluent. How many times has it been where it's been a Chill Town, a Marz, a Ticket, a Low, a Fluent? They say these takes. The hardcore fans. They have these takes. They go viral, and the casuals gravitate to it. The game is being pushed by hardcore fans. It's not being pushed by ESPN and stuff like that no more. Half the takes that you're hearing is coming from YouTubers, streamers, content creators, guys like that. So if we're pushing the narrative forward that hey, Shea is out here dropping 35 in the tournament game. We talking about it. We have a clip for it. Steve is going to sit back and be like, oh, I missed that. Let me go catch the highlight. And if I like it, I'm going to watch it. That's what's going to happen. That's what listening is going to happen.
And then Kendrick Perkins is going to go back on national TV talking about, yeah, man, but LeBron, see what I'm saying? Him and and Steph Curry. See, that's all that's what they gonna do.
And then we gonna sit up here the next day and be like, yo, did y'all see that clown Kendrick Perkins say that about Steph and LeBron? And that's what we gonna do.
I'm with you. That's why I'm glad that the network that we got over here is building faster and faster. You know what I'm saying? Because the number differential that they're talking to versus who we talking to realistically is crazy. So they still control the narrative because there's more people watching them that's casuals. We getting the hardcores right now. We ain't even touched casuals yet. The dudes that come in here, let me tell you something. Everybody that's listening to this video right now, there's probably almost 2,000 people here right now, not 1,500 or more, right? That's listening right now on a regular basis every single day.
2,300.
These is all hardcore basketball fans to be in here right now. Normally, the basketball fans who just are casuals, they ain't even, you don't see them no more till next season. All these people that's in here now is hardcore. So we trying to reach the casual fans and pull them into the hardcore. And the problem is that the big wigs have not been really promoting these dudes the way they should have been. They haven't been promoting Jokic. They haven't been promoting Giannis. They haven't been promoting all these other dudes the way they should over these Curry guys. Now, of course, Curry won a chip last year, so you still going to roll with him. But you see, you go and turn on TV every day, still going to talk about LeBron and the Lakers every single day.
All I'm saying is when it comes to this in-season tournament thing, they're going to shell out a bunch of ads and whatever the pop-in TikTok song is going to be playing on a loop over it. They're going to advertise it, and they're going to get a bunch of casuals to watch it. Now, it might not be all the casuals, but a bunch of – if y'all don't think a bunch of casuals are going to tune into something that is being marketed and pushed by the NBA in December, November, December, January – like, come on, bro. Like – it's not just us that think that regular season don't matter. Well, we know the regular season matters in some way, but casuals don't think it matter. If you throw some shiny trophy, some cute little art style and push this new narrative of, okay, here's what we're doing now, the casuals going to be like, all right, what else do I got to do? What else do I got to do? It's not coming up. College football ain't on. It's not interfering with my NFL time. Why not? I need some sports to watch. Like, that's all. They're going to have it on TV. People are going to scroll through and they're going to see an NBA game on. They're going to watch the NBA game. It's still going to be a casual viewer watching casual basketball.
Well, you are missing one part. This is also a grab or a trial to see if they can steal some of those NFL people. Mm-hmm. Because during the regular season in November and in December, look at the numbers. The NFL still draws like 2 times, 3 times, 10 times more viewership than the NBA. So if they can get a tournament, if they can get, like you said, that marketing, those pieces to get some of those NFL people to come over during the late seasons when the NFL games matter, when the playoffs might be starting, etc. That's what this is about too. They got smoked last year by the NFL.
I mean, there ain't gonna be nothing they can do about that. I ain't gonna lie to you. I mean, they just gonna have to bite the bullet. NFL's always gonna draw more attention than football is just
deal. It's just a bigger deal. It's always been. It always will be.
It's about the amount. It's just because of the. It's less game. It's one game a week. Or for your team, it's one game a week. All the games are happening on a Sunday, a Thursday, a Monday. It's more build up. You have a lot less time you have like this one day where you're going to set out your time to watch NFL football, X, Y, and Z. It's not like a 3 games in 2 nights type of, or 3 games in 4 nights type of ordeal. And there's no competing with that. They can do as many in-season tournaments they want. They can do one in December, one in March, and then get ready for the play-in. You're not gonna cut into that NFL time.
Still not gonna be a bigger deal than the NFL. You can try to grab some of the NFL audience because there are a lot of people who watch pro football that watch pro basketball. But I mean, I don't think it's gonna be a huge chunk because if you think about what football is, when they play in 60, 70,000 seat arenas, most people that watch football. There are some people who watch football and watch pro basketball, but for the majority of the people who watch football are football fans. So it's gonna be real difficult to cut into that. Really difficult to cut into that.
I agree.
Did our host leave us?
I think so. There he is. He's still here.
Nah,
the host is still here.
Alive and in effect, brother. Alive and in effect.
He's still
here.
All
right, we're going to jump into these super chats. We're going to start from the top. Indoor Voices said, since Bron's watch was 20 years, here's who didn't eat in that time. You got Russ, Harden, PG, CP3, Iverson, Melo, Gill, Dwight, Vince, T-Mac, Nash, BD, and Yao. He followed that up by saying, I have a belief that there are only 5 guys who can legitimately make a GOAT case, depending on your logic. Bron, MJ, Kareem, Russell, Kobe.
That's easy to beat. Go back to that first super chat. That's easy. Bro, you make this shit too easy for a nigga, man. So, first of all, let's talk about Bron's watch. Bro, we talking about dudes that Jordan beat when we say he blocked them from winning chips. Dudes he beat. Now, put it back up. Put it back up. When did LeBron James, sir, when did he beat AI?
He didn't.
Did he beat Dwight?
No.
Lost to Dwight.
Did he beat Vince?
They didn't play.
They beat the Nets in 07. I don't know if Vince was there. No.
Did he beat Nash?
Well, technically, he beat T-Mac in the finals in 2013.
Nigga, T-Mac was goddamn.
He didn't play. I don't think T-Mac did. T-Mac play one game?
Yeah, he didn't play. Come on, man.
He was on the roster, man.
Hold on.
One game that entire playoff run.
Hold on. Did he beat Yao Ming?
No.
I wasn't.
Nigga, you named. Hold on. 7 dudes you put on the list. He ain't even play. All these dudes with Mike. We talking about dudes that he played. He played Carl and all them dudes. He played. All them dudes that we talking about Reggie. All these dudes. He played them dudes. Pat Ewing and them dudes. Bro, stop playing, man. Y'all, if y'all don't know basketball, bro, cut this out, man. Now, Bron, he did beat Gil. He did beat Russ. He did beat Harden.
He did beat
Now,
PG.
he do got dudes on this list that he did. Only thing I was saying is that Jordan has more. He has more Hall of Famers that he stopped from getting rings while during his era that he stopped. See what I'm saying? So we're not saying that it wasn't dudes that did win, because it was dudes that won. Isaiah won, Larry won. You know what I'm saying? It was a few other guys that won that were superstars on Jordan's watch that beat him that won. So we're not gonna say he didn't. I'm just saying it was more. For you to come in here and put up names that he didn't even play. Come on, bro. Like we ain't doing that. That's
he
curious.
put Baron Davis on there. I didn't even think of Baron.
No, he put B Diddy on there. And listen, shout out to B Diddy running City Show No Pity. He wasn't a superstar though. He wasn't a superstar.
No, he was not.
Respect 2007 Baron Davis, man.
Hey, B Diddy was. Hey, listen, I'm gonna tell you something.
Marz, Baron Davis was never a superstar, so let's kill him.
Hey, he looked like a superstar when he was being done.
He played like one, but he was never a superstar. Never.
We call Jimmy Butler a superstar for that. So,
Jimmy Butler's completely different. Jimmy Butler's not the same thing as what Baron Davis was doing. Not even close to the same.
Yeah, Baron Davis is better, but it's fine. Let's move on. Super chat.
Hey, and Bron beat Jimmy.
He did.
Yeah, he beat Jimmy in the finals.
Easy to beat. Lieben Ali said, NBA Cup is an awesome idea. NBA Champions League. You agree, Marz?
If we win it, then yeah, it's great. If we don't,
of course, if you win it, because Marz has to have some incentive in this. It can't just be, the Charlotte Hornets win it, or I don't know, Indiana wins it. Marz has to have some sort of incentives.
Hey, chill. I want to ask you a quick question. Does Steph Curry ever win a chip if Bron's team is healthy and he doesn't get KD? If Bron's team was healthy and he never got KD, does Steph Curry win a championship?
No,
I think so.
What about that?
I think so, but
hold on. I think they lose the first one. I think that Steph Curry loses the one that Kyrie and big fella was hurt, Kevin Love. I think LeBron wins that one. Then if they never go get KD, I think they mentally broke from that. I think LeBron beats him out.
I think they win in 2016 if they're healthy. So
no, I'm saying without KD.
Yeah, 2016 when they blew the 3-1 lead. I think if Draymond doesn't get suspended and Bogut doesn't get injured and Steph doesn't go through 2 injuries in the first 2 rounds of the postseason, I think the Warriors would have won the series.
Those two injuries. Those hold on, ticket. Them two.
Yeah, and
injuries
if you want to say the Steph injuries didn't bother him, that's fine.
No,
Bogut and Draymond. So
we're looking at it differently based on they would have lost that first one. Everything to me changes for this next one. The mentality, everything changes. See,
I don't even know for sure if they lose the
first one. You never know what the Warriors do, what their moves are going forward after that. See, I'm saying that if LeBron's team was healthy and they win the first one, I don't think we never see the Warriors from what we saw them to be. See what I'm saying? Because I think if LeBron comes back with the same team and the Warriors come back with the same team, I think Bron beats them again and again and again. See what I'm saying?
Well, I'm
already on record that Warriors team is not together after the 2016 season. They're not together.
They're not.
Because had they lost OKC, it would have been different.
After 2016 in 2017, I think that after 2017 that Warrior team is not the same if KD don't get on that crew, because I think the Cavs smoked them in the finals the next year. I don't think they beat them. I think they smoked them.
This is such an overreaction to losing by 1 possession in Game 7.
Oh no, it's not an overreaction, Marz. Okay, so let's get to the bottom of one thing, Marz. The last time I heard the commissioner come up to the podium and go, "Congratulations, barely NBA champions," was never. That was the last time I heard that.
Yeah, but you're saying they would have smoked them the next year.
The fact that, and I'm going to tell you why. And I'm going to tell you why. Because you're talking about a one-possession game in Game 7, but you're completely leaving out what led up to all of that. Now, I can appreciate your logic about Andrew Bogut getting hurt. I can appreciate that. I can appreciate the logic about Steph Curry being hurt in the first 2 series. But what I can't appreciate is how bad he played in that Game 7, along with how bad Klay Thompson played. I think they were 12. I believe they were 12 for 36. Not only did he fold, that crew folded. So now what that gives Cleveland immense confidence. LeBron James has ridiculous confidence. So we already came back from a 3-1 lead, and we saw that you folded up like a lawn chair. The next year, they're looking at them the same way. And I think if they see them in the NBA Finals, I think they smoke them.
I think you're sleeping on the mental fortitude of the Golden State Warriors. Like, if you think they're just going to lay down and die because they choked a 3-1 lead, knowing that they had come back from a 3-1 lead in that exact postseason.
So why they go get KD?
Because who says no to Kevin Durant?
You do.
KD says he wants to join me. Come on, KD. Welcome to the club. You're one of us. No way am I saying no to KD.
We're just assuming that Kyrie.
If KD wants to join, come along, KD. If LeBron wants to join you too, everyone can join the club. I'm about to say no to KD.
When you win 73 games, you felt like you got cheated in the finals.
I ain't saying no to the second or third best player in the world. That's dumb.
Hold on. You don't need him. You need him. You run that back.
No, that's dumb. Why would I make my team worse when I could add KD to it?
All right, man.
I don't think from a place of ego and pride. I think from a place of common sense. It is dumb to say no to Kevin Durant. I don't care about my ego. I'm saying yes to Kevin Durant.
Chill ticketed Marz.
I'm actually having a good conversation with Marz.
Hey, Ron, that man said mentally, and I agree with Chill Tip. It shows that they was mentally weak. Marz talking about, their mental fortitude. Their mentality was weak.
Because that's just a lack of an ego. That's all that is. That's a lack of an ego. That's not mentally weak. That's just not having an ego. You're only thinking of it from a perspective of we were this close that we need to run it back. Like, no, if the third best player in the world says he wants to join me, me saying no to that is dumb. I'm sorry, that's just not smart. That's a bad decision. The Cavs just won and they were trying to get KD. It's just common sense. You try and get
No. You know what? Hold on. So hold on. When Olajuwon and the Rockets win the chip, do they say run it back, or do they say, okay, Clyde, come join us?
No.
Whoa, Tone, that's not the same thing. That's not even close to the same thing, because they did run it back. Just so not only did they run it back, before they got Clyde, they were the number 4 seed.
Facts.
So it wasn't like Drex jumped on the crew in the beginning of the season. That's not the same thing. No, they got Kevin Durant because they looked at LeBron James and that Cleveland Cavaliers and felt we can't beat these dudes with what we got right now. We can't. Now, Marz, to get back to what you were saying, because Marz and I was actually having a pretty good conversation. Marz, what I don't agree with, what I'm not saying, Marz, is the idea that Golden State would roll over. There's a difference between you rolling over and me choking you out. And I think that's what Cleveland would have done. I don't think that Golden State was just going to roll over. I think that at that point, if you don't add KD to that team, I think mentally the Golden State Warriors were beaten. And I think that at that point, Cleveland, as superior as they were, I think that they choked Golden State out. Because considering how good James was at that point, the confidence that Kyrie Irving had at that point, Kevin Love finally becoming who he always wanted to become at that point, they were at the top of their game. If you don't put Kevin Durant on that roster and you bring that Golden State Warriors team back, considering what happened last year, how Cleveland fought to get back into that series, not only fight to get back into that series, but to go into your building in Game 7 in a dogfight and end you. I think the next season, their confidence is through the roof, and I think they smoke Golden State. If Golden State actually gets back and gets past Oklahoma City.
I agree.
I don't know. We'll never prove it, but I think
we won't. This is all
Harrison Barnes, in my opinion. Steph would need to get better, obviously. And that turnover that he committed is the worst turnover in NBA.
That was terrible.
It's worse than Magic Johnson. It's worse than what Jimmy Butler did this year. That is the worst turnover I've ever seen.
He threw the ball to the second row behind
the back. As a Golden State fan at that time, me watching that happen, tears rolled down my 6-year-old face. It was tragic.
I gotta read these.
That's what. Yeah, no doubt, no doubt.
I apologize. The Jordan face and crying emoji. Y'all gotta get Marz.
Drink More Water said, with today being about Bates, Who are some second-round picks that have a chance at having a long NBA career? I've talked about Andre Jackson Jr. as someone that can do everything but shoot, but is extremely athletic defender.
Bates. Hold on. Stay right there with Bates. Since jackass Marz want to run his mouth. What's up, Marz? Bates,
tell me
Bates.
what's up.
You hold on. No, I want you to keep the same see,
I don't overreact to Summer League. I think
no. I am.
So yeah, you're keeping the same energy. I'm keeping the same energy.
Hold on, Marz. Ticket, you big on Bates. What's your fascination with Bates?
Listen, I'm gonna tell you like this, dog. You don't go. Listen.
Marz is so nasty.
The only reason, let's keep it 100. The only reason he went from being number one is because of that trouble he got into. That affected everything. That affected everything from his season to everything. That can affect the kid mentally when you get in trouble like that. You know what I'm saying? So to me, you still looking at a dude out of high school that he would have been the number one overall pick in the NBA, or at least top 3. So that you getting that type of talent in a second round at a 6'9" dude on the wing, man, what are we talking about? That can pull up the 3, get to the rack. You understand what I'm saying? And he's showing you he can get to the basket, Mr. Marz, right? If you haven't been watching
Summer League, Summer League, great. When he's in the G League next year, great. NBA is what we're talking about. It's not working anymore.
He getting to the rack, right?
In the Summer League, yes.
Okay, yeah. But you said
times. Yes.
You were so greasy. You said he was gonna be out the league, and he ain't this, he ain't that. What's up now? What's up?
I still think he's going to be out the league in the next 3 years. I still think that.
Okay, we'll keep hating.
See, this thing, I'm not overreacting to Summer League. I saw Wembanyama have 27. That doesn't make it mean I think he's the GOAT. Why would I overreact to somebody? See, I look at it as a game-by-game basis.
He wasn't rated like that.
Okay, ticket. Why did we not talk about Emoni Bates when he was 5 for 17 in game 1? Why not? Because we don't need to overreact. He has a good game, and all of a sudden I was wrong. I could have just said you were wrong after game 1. I didn't because I could just watch him play. There's no need to overreact to every little game. He was terrible in the first game. No one overreacted. He was decent in the second game. No one overreacted. He was good last night, and now here you are overreacting. That doesn't make sense. Just watch him play, and we'll just see how it unfolds. And if he's out the league in 3 years, I was right. If he becomes a good player, you was right. I'm not about to overreact to some Summer League games to act like you were correct because he had a great game in the Summer League. I'm sorry, I'm not doing that. I'm not about. And the fact that this is a title is crazy because when that Portland Trailblazers guard had 27 against the Victor Wembanyama Spurs, he didn't get a title, but Emoni Bates somehow gets a title because he had 21 in the summer. That doesn't make sense. I still view him the same way. He can shoot very well. Everything else he can't do at an NBA level. He's still not a good defender. He's still not a great passer. He's still not a great athlete. And I still don't think he's a 3-level scorer. I still view him the same way. So
everybody in the league needs to be that, Marz.
I said the only way he's going to be in the league is if he becomes an elite spot-up shooter. I said that. If he buys into that role of coming off screens or spotting up in the corner, he can find a way to be in the NBA despite the fact he's not going to be a good defender.
You think
I believe that can happen.
He can't get better.
MPJ is very high bar. I said Duncan Robinson. Duncan Robinson is the best I see him ever being. And if he can be more than that, then I was wrong. And if he's less than that, then I was right. So who cares?
You need to, Marz. Ron. This nigga just said Duncan Robinson, Emoni Bates. Bro, that's a guy. Hey man, listen, man.
And if I'm wrong, if I'm wrong, then 4 years from now when I'm wrong, tell me I'm wrong. I'm not about to listen to why I'm wrong because of a Summer League game. I'm not doing that.
Damo, you looking at Emoni Bates thinking Duncan Robinson, man.
First of all, when I was in high school, I thought Emoni Bates was going to be great. When I was coming up, I thought he was going to be great looking at ball his life. And then I watched him leave Memphis for whatever reason he left Memphis. Then I watched him at some B-tier college. Watched him at some no-name college just shoot the ball and put up crazy numbers so he can get a chance to go in the league. I said that when Marz said he was going to be out the league and you swore he was going to get picked in the first round, I said both of y'all are tripping. He's going to go in the second round, and I hope he gets a shot. I hope he can play.
I said he would get picked in the second round. I was actually perfectly right. I said bottom 10 pick of the draft.
I bet you
he was the 10th last pick in the draft. I was perfectly accurate.
I bet you two things, Marz.
You would have bet with me that he was going to go in the first round.
I bet you end up better than Brandon Miller, and I bet you end up better than the Amen Thompson brother.
How much you betting on that?
Whatever, nigga.
That's
bet.
Listen,
how much money you want to put that he won't be better than either one of them?
Nigga, hold on. Brandon Miller gonna be a bust.
This is a 15-year bet.
And hold on. You want to talk about somebody? Hold on. You want to talk about
somebody? I'm not high on Brandon Miller, Ticket. I don't think he's that good either.
Right. Okay. So what about the other Thompson brother, the one that played for Detroit?
Asor.
I'm not crazy high on Asor Thompson. He'll be better than Brandon. Better than
right. That's what I'm saying. Money's gonna be better than both of them chunks.
So what? You want us to make a bet for 15 years? Because that's how long we're gonna have to wait to see if it's true.
Hold on. No, this gonna tell fast. Because you're gonna see old boy a bust after the first 3 years.
If Emoni Bates ain't even playing,
I'm not. Brandon Miller is fine. I don't know, but I don't care about
Emoni Bates is making the Cavs roster. That's one. For two,
on a two-way contract.
Hold on. For two, he's gonna potentially get minutes. You know why? Because there's a capping ass Negro in here named Marz that sat up here and took a shit on the court all season long. You remember this, Chilltown, saying how he ain't had no offense. He was putrid being on the court. That's minutes for Emoni right there. Because this is a
playoff team.
No, you're not hearing me.
Wait, who are you talking about? Who was that shitting on?
Everything Marz says Okoro wasn't.
Oh yeah, Okoro, yeah.
Right. Everything he said he wasn't. Marz was like, oh, he's horrendous. He can't score, all this other stuff.
Not like Emoni Bates.
That's what Emoni Bates does.
Yeah, Karis LeVert.
Man, this nigga right here, man, boy. All right.
Who they brought back?
Karis LeVert.
Didn't they bring back Cedi Osman?
Hold on, but LeVert.
Damo, how long? Damo, in your opinion, Damo, how long? Because I don't think you think he's on the roster this season. I think you think he's a G League guy this year. How long before he's a full-time player on the Cavs?
High in 2 years. I think
so. We're looking at 2 more years.
At the most, he spends 2 years in the G League. At the most, that's the most.
But realistically, after this,
which I'm cool with that.
In the 24-25 season, you think he'll be on the G League?
In the 24,
you think he making a roster this season?
Hold on, this man was damn near a lottery pick, nigga. They have a use. Hold on, they have a
second round.
The 49th pick.
I'm saying before he went through the adversity, they have a use for his position. And if you notice, they've been playing him the most minutes in summer league. When you do that, that means that's probably one of the main guys you're keeping.
He part of it.
Or you're showcasing him for a trade. So here, this should be your bet.
Don't do that, Tom.
Hold on. This should be your bet. But it's true. It's true. But this should be your bet. If he starts on the Cavs, like on their actual pro roster, you win. If he starts in the G League, Marz wins.
Hold on.
That should be your bet. If you're that confident. If you're that confident,
I think at best he's going to get a 2-way deal.
I bet you 100 pounds, sucker.
Bet me what?
I guarantee you won't start in the G League.
I think he's going to get a 2-way contract.
Hold on. You just said earlier in the other video that he's going to be a G League player. That's what you said.
A 2-way contract means you play in the G League and the NBA.
Man,
I think that's probably what
no G League player, man.
I think the only way he's coming up in the NBA is if Karis LeVert, Cedi Osman,
they'll go through some and that's why he'll be on the 2-way.
Yes, I see that happening.
He better than Cedi Osman.
They didn't bring Cedi back?
No, he signed elsewhere. I don't want to make that. This is the issue. It sounds like I'm just hating on Emoni Bates. I don't want to just speak negatively about someone. It's getting annoying.
You don't think he's better than Kobe?
No, I do not.
No, I'm asking Ron. Ron, you don't think that?
Oh.
Ron thinks he's a 3-level scorer. Ron
thinks he's a 3-level scorer.
Ron is big on Emoni Bates.
Hold on, no. Let's get all that.
Oh, Cedi Osman's on the Spurs. We're all cooked.
Yeah.
Oh, no. But Max Strus came. Max Strus is on the
Spurs.
Max Strus. They still play 2 different positions. Imani would technically be a 3. But I mean, it's still on the wing. But the point I'm trying to make is let's get the 3-level score logic out of here.
Terrible.
Let's just talk about Imani on this team. You got a Donovan Mitchell, you got a Darius Garland, you got an Evan Mobley, and then you got big fella Jared Allen. Imani slots perfectly right there as somebody that just stretches the floor. Marz, you're saying he's
that's how he's gonna get a role in the league. All he needs to do is shoot the ball.
Yes. He doesn't need to do anything else. Well, when I look at everybody on that roster, he fits that position better than anybody else. You could possibly argue Karis. And Karis does a little more. He's obviously a better player as of right now. But if I need somebody just to catch and shoot and be in the corner spotting up, Emoni Bates is perfect.
Yeah, this is the thing. If you guys just listen to what I said his way
the role
into
that
the
Marz
league,
has him in.
I literally said he's a great shooter. He's an NBA level shooter. That's his way into the league. The belief that he's going to be getting the opportunity to be some isolation scorer in the league is not going to happen. The only way he's going to justify being on the floor is if he can shoot the basketball at a high level off the ball. It's not going to be give the ball to Emoni Bates instead of Darius Garland and Donovan Mitchell and let him create. That's not happening. The only way he's touching the floor is if he can shoot. That's the only reason Duncan Robinson ever touches the floor is to shoot. That's why I said his role in the NBA is going to be Duncan Robinson. He's not going to be asked to put the ball on the floor and create shots in the mid-range. He's not going to be asked to do that.
he's gonna be able. He's gonna do more than Duncan Robinson just because he has.
That's fine, but he's not going to be asked to do that. His role is going to be to shoot the ball. If he's not shooting the ball at a high level, he's not touching the floor. If he shoots 34% from three, he won't touch the floor. That's what I'm saying. He has to shoot 38, 39, 40% to be have a chance to be on the floor. That's what I'm saying.
I hope y'all keeping these tapes. When that boy start cooking this season, when he get in,
keep the tapes. Ticket. I don't care about being wrong. If I'm wrong, I'll just happily say I was wrong. I don't like my ego. I don't have one. I don't care about being wrong. I've been wrong many times before. I've been wrong many times in the future. I don't care about being wrong. I'll happily say I was wrong. I've been wrong about a bunch of players. I don't care.
He's not even the best player that was took in the second round.
No, but he's
Jackson, right?
Goddamn right, GG Jackson, man, 6'9", 215.
I like Jordan Walsh over him. I like Andre Jackson.
Hold on, so Damo, why did you get off of him then, Damo? Since you say you love him,
I like Trace Jackson Davis.
Get off of who?
No, you say you love Emoni Bates so much, Negro. Why you get off of him now?
I'm not off of him. Again, I'm not off of him. When you and Marz wait. When you and Marz are going back and forth between he's a first round pick and he's not in the league, I was the guy saying, nah, he's a second round. I got him going second round. He's probably not going to go first round. He's going to go second round, and he's going to get a shot in the NBA, and I hope he gets a shot in the NBA. I said that. That's on camera. I'm rooting for him. I'm not as high on him because over time, I'm like, okay, this whole notion that he's going to be the next Kevin Durant isn't true. That's what he was being sold as. The 16-year-old Kevin Durant. That's what they sold us on.
Based on watching him
based off of his Ball is Life mixtape title, the next Kevin Durant.
This was ninth grade, Damo. This wasn't 16. This was like ninth grade.
That's what they told us he was.
Yeah.
And then I was like, okay, he's next Kevin Durant. And then you realize, oh, damn. Actually, he might not be Kevin Durant.
People haven't watched him since that mixtape. They
really haven't. And then when you watch him, you're like, oh, this isn't Kevin Durant. This is
Damo. If he would have been, if he would have
a lot of shots.
Damo, if he would have never, if there was not a one and done rule, he would have been a top 1 or 2 pick in the draft coming out of high school.
Facts.
He would not have.
No. Emoni Bates would have been a lottery pick if he could have.
Yes, he would have, Damo. Yes, he would have.
One or two pick. No,
I said lottery.
A lottery pick. I give you that. A top 1 or 2 pick coming out of high school for
He would have came out in like 2020.
And who was that?
The Anthony Edwards year.
Yeah, he was ranked higher than Ant-Man, nigga. Get it right.
Yeah, but they weren't college. They weren't taking.
No, but he was higher on the draft board than Ant-Man. He was higher on the draft board than Ant-Man at that time.
Probably when they were in high school that he was
higher. No. When Anthony Edwards was at Georgia.
Yeah, that last year he was
slapped to go higher.
Yes. Yeah. That last year
he had to go to school. Yeah, he had to go to school.
And then he went and got in trouble. He went and got in trouble with the gun at Memphis. Then that messed up his whole season at Memphis. I
guarantee you he would have slid. He would have went through the process of getting the draft interviews, the workouts, the comment, whatever it is. He would have slid from being over Ant Edwards to under Ant Edwards.
Hold on. He wouldn't have had to do it. He was a lottery. He wouldn't have had to do all that.
He still would have had to have draft interviews. He still would have had to do the process of getting drafted. He might not have did the combine. He still would have had workouts. He still would have had the draft. The same thing we had seen happen with Cam Whitmore. Now they're saying it's because of injuries and they ain't like his interview answers. But I promise you, once you see him in person and he's 6'9", $165 soaking wet, you're gonna be like, do I really want this as my number 1 pick if I'm trying to turn my franchise around? No, they wouldn't have had that. It would have been a problem.
Hey Ron, watch how right I am about this, Ron. I put any amount of money on this. I'm right about this.
When he is lighting up the G League at night, I promise you, I want to hear you talk about it.
You know what? If you need a break from this basketball conversation, don't forget to go to sportsfluent.com and sign up for Paramount Plus. Special discount for those that.
Hey, Ron, you mark my words, Ron. On this day, Emoni Bates, he got it, Ron. He got it, bro. Do they got another game in Summer League?
Yeah,
yeah. I mean, they still got the playoffs and all of that. He's for sure going to end up playing more.
He's going to go crazy. And listen. I'm going to say this. And if Emoni, if you listening, because you probably will be, because ain't too many people talking about you but us, right? Come through and show us some love, dog, because we talking about you, homie. You understand what I'm saying? They don't slid you down in the draft. We over here showing love to you on Player's Choice. I would love to have you come up here and talk to Mr. Marz. You understand what I'm saying? So invite is there. You feel me? Just hit up Ron. Hit up Ron on his IG or whatever. You know, we set the move up, right? We can set the move up. And all y'all dudes is welcome to come up here if y'all want to come up here for the interviews and chop it up or whatever with the panel and stuff like that. Y'all can come get it. We'll respect you. But guy like Marz for saying what you and Dama was saying, bro, about a dude that was that talented, that the only reason why he got in trouble was because of a gun incident, and that hurt his value. So now all of a sudden, everything this scout said about his game is out the window. When we know when you get in trouble, that can't hurt your draft stock. The only person we seen it didn't do to was Brandon Miller, and that's because he got off the situation and he didn't have no problem.
He had nothing to do with that. He had nothing to do with that.
So that's the reason why he's in a great place now. Emoni, though, he got in a situation where that truly affected his status, and that affected the way teams looked at him, and that hurt his draft stock. So now he's got to play his way back into people's minds to show people how good of a player he really is, man. Man, y'all do some haters, and I promise y'all that man will be doing work in the league. And in 4 years, we will have this conversation. I promise y'all. Y'all will say, damn, Ticket was right about that.
Yo,
if you're
fellas,
right, then
fellas,
yeah, I will
fellas.
say that. Happy.
It was a good episode. Appreciate everybody for tuning in. We'll be back at the same time tomorrow. Y'all know where to find us.
Take it light.